Snacks, Habitat for Humanity Restore, Chick-fil-A, UECU, Overhead Door of Reading, Spots Insurance, Coon Funeral Home, Susan McFadden of Keller Williams Platinum Realty, Shell's Restaurant, Dairy Swirl, and Miniature Golf, Victor Emmanuel Beneficial Society, Brad Coley, Goosehead Insurance, Huber's Auto Group, Financial Planning Advisors, Lincoln Plumbing and Heating, Pizza Como, Reading Fight and Phil's, and Celebration Villa of Exeter.
Now for all the action, let's go courtside with Bob McCool and Rich Scarcella.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. WE's coverage of Berks County High School basketball continues tonight. Berks boys matchup between Exeter and Reading High, two teams who have become perennial contenders for playoff spots in Berks County basketball playoffs. 2026 figures to be no different. The Exeter Eagles off to a 6-1 start, including 2-0 start so far in Division II of the Berks Boys Conference. Reading Red Knights now 3-3 after a 3-game winning streak to start the season. They have dropped 3 in a row, including their first 2 in Berks Conference Division I. It's the Eagles, it's the Red Knights, and as always, it's live here on 8:30 a.m. WEEU in Reading. Our high school basketball broadcasts are brought to you by Savage Auto Group. And tonight we are live, as we always are throughout the basketball season. You can watch all of our coverage for free on our YouTube channel at 8:30 WEEU Sports. Tell your friends you can sit back and watch high school basketball at its finest throughout the rest of the season right here, courtesy of WEEU. We're going to take a timeout back with our Shell's Restaurant, Dairy Swirl, Miniature Golf pregame show live from the Geigel Complex on 13th Street at the Castle on the Hill in Reading after this.
Redner's Markets is a part of the Berks County community, proudly employee, local, and American-owned since 1970. Your support has made Redner's a staple, and your continued commitment is rewarded with the Redner's Rewards Program. Shopping at the markets earns you big savings with grocery deals, special offers and services, and surprise savings. Rewards members save at the pump, too, with discounts on fuel prices at our 7 Redner's Quick Stops and many more select locations. Shop, earn, and save with the Redner's mobile app. Sign up at the store or online at rednersmarkets.com.
Spots Insurance Group is a proud sponsor of Berks County sports. We're an award-winning nationwide agency you can trust, insuring what means most to you for over 32 years. We specialize in auto, home, renters, business, and life insurance. Remember, when you think insurance, think Spots. Visit us at spotsforinsurance.com. That's SPOTTS, 4, insurance.com.
This season, stick with everyone's favorite snack, Diefenbach's Kettle Chips. Legend has it, Mark Diefenbach loved kettle cooked chips so much, he turned his Berks County kitchen into the ultimate snack factory. Now, over 60 years later, we're still making that delicious PA crafted crunch with the same passion and quality right where it all began. So crunch into some flavorful Diefenbach's Kettle Chips today and snack on a delicious tradition.
Welcome back to the Geigel Complex alongside Rich Scarcella, Exeter and Reading High going after one another tonight. Tonight's pregame show brought to you by Shell's Restaurant, Dairy Swirl, Miniature Golf. Fuel up for game day with their delicious burgers, their hot dogs, their fried chicken, barbecue sandwiches, French fries, and, of course, ice cream. Have your own battle on their miniature 27-hole miniature golf course when the weather gets nice. Visit Shell's on the 5th Street Highway in town. Alongside Rich Scarcella, I'm Bob McCool, getting you set for Exeter and Reading High. And, Rich, taking a look at the visiting team, the Exeter Eagles, despite some issues along the way, it's been a really good start for Jeff Van Gorder's crew. He's sitting at 6-1, and they've had to overcome quite a bit of adversity to get to where they are and still be at 6-1.
Yeah, they missed 2 of their key players in this early stretch. Dylan Donati, their leading scorer, averaging 19 points a game, scored 18, 20, and 19 in the first 3 games, and then he has sat out since with a calf strain. Jeff Van Gorder told us before the game doesn't expect him back until maybe the holiday tournament that they're in, December 29th and 30th. And then there's Aiden Dobble, who's been a terrific player on the Exeter team since his freshman year, terrific linebacker, tight end in football. He's been out. He has an ankle injury, both ankles. One in football he hurt in Exeter's District 3 playoff run. And then when he came back in basketball, he injured the other one in his first game and has been out since. But we expect him Jeff Van Gorder said he expects him to be playing tonight, and he is in fact in the Eagles starting lineup. So they're two key cogs for Exeter, yet the Eagles have found a way to win 6 of their first 7 games because they have a lot of balance.
Pottstown, Pottsgrove victories to start things in the showcase games played. The City of Basketball Love Tournament played at Exeter High School to get it started. Their lone loss at this point in time is a non-leaguer to Penn Manor. They also beat Blue Mountain and Boyertown in a couple of non-league games. And their division games so far, they beat Conrad Weiser 65-49 and Twin Valley 58-49 to get to that 6-1 mark. And again, 2-0 so far, starting things in Division 2. They did win Division 2 last year, going 7-4 to win the division, lost in the quarterfinals of the Berks County playoffs to Governor Mifflin, and then worked their way through the District 3 playoffs, got all the way to the District 3 5A championship where they ran into a buzzsaw in the Hershey Trojans. Hershey won that one by a final score of 69-49. And in a game you heard here on WEEU, first round of the PIAA playoffs, they lost to Latrobe 64-58 to bring their season to an end last year. But they figured to be right back in the thick of things and return the veterans, as Rich said about Aiden Dauble, came off the bench for that team that went to the state championship when Aiden Dauble was a freshman. And he had a classmate who saw some time in that one as well, and that's Jaden Ware, who also shared time with him on the football field. But Jaden Ware gives them some great athleticism. He might be their A1 defender as well. But what we're seeing so far from Jaden Ware is a whole lot more on the offensive side, averaging well over 13 points a game so far to begin this season.
Yeah, he picked up the slack when Donati and Dauble, without them in the lineup, he's being more aggressive. Jeff Van Gorder has told us. Jeff told us also, you mentioned his defense, Bob. He's a tremendous defender, deflects a lot of passes, knocks the ball away a lot of times. Remind Cameron Jones for Reading, and we'll get to the Red Knights in a little bit. But Jaden Ware, as you said, both he and Dauble contributed to that state championship run. Had some really big moments 3 years ago. But you also have an interesting addition this year, transfer from Berks Catholic, Jackson Kozik. Jackson played a lot for Berks Catholic during their run to the District 3 championship, District 3 4A championship, and to the PIAA 4A state final. Has a lot of post-game experience. And Jeff Van Gorder said he's been a pleasant surprise and has added some leadership, too.
And the other piece of this puzzle is, as we work our way through seeing some of these teams for the first time, and tonight is our first chance to see Exeter play, they are right now possessing something that I don't know anybody else has, and that's some depth. Now, Wilson actually has used some depth the other night to help beat Reading High in their comeback, and I think it certainly benefited the Bulldogs. But Jeff Van Gorder, based on what we've heard through him talking the conversations, now that Dauble is back, Dylan Donati coming back shortly, he might be able to run 8 or 9 players out there on any given night. And again, that's something that Rick Perez would love to have at his hands right now. But unfortunately, that's not the case for the Red Knights and a lot of other teams. So Exeter has some depth at their disposal, which again, not a whole lot of Berks County teams so far from what we've seen do possess.
They have depth and they also have size. They can put out 3 6'3" players, and nobody that we've seen, none of the upper tier of teams in Berks County has that kind of size. And Exeter you could have Dauble, you could have Braylon Reinert, who we didn't talk to, was a terrific football player, was a starter last year for the Eagles as a sophomore. And I'm trying to, the other one is, it's Cameron Scott. I think he's 6'3".
Right.
Yeah, and he's a sophomore. He's going to come off the bench and get some minutes as well. Nobody has that kind of size in Berks County. And the other thing is Reinert and Dauble are extremely strong and physical players, and both can rebound the ball well.
Yeah, and you can add Jackson Kozik to that mix. They were all part of that football mix, and they used them on quite a number of occasions. Well, they were the middle of the two linebackers were Reinert and Dauble, and, of course, using them as tight ends as well. Jackson Kozik started as a defensive end and also was an H-back and a fullback for the Exeter Eagles on their run to the district championship game where they saw their season come to an end against Bishop McDevitt in the District 3 final. But we had a chance to see Exeter a couple times late in the season, those battles, those wars that they had with Conestoga Valley, and all those three were a big piece of it. So Exeter doesn't have necessarily great size in terms of 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", but certainly some physicality that not a whole lot of the teams can match up with. And we saw a little bit of that the other night when we start to dip into Reading High a little bit, and that's Jameer Jacob, who really did not measure up all that well against Michael Glover, who, of course, brings that same kind of physicality to him that Kozik and Daubel and Reinert will bring as well. But what we really saw from Reinert last year is he was kind of, I'm going to call him almost a warm body through most of the season. But as the season progressed, he got better and better, and he just makes things happen inside, and he started to contribute more as the season went on. You could see the experience because he was only a 10th grader at that point in time. But I think Jeff Van Gorder just had him in there to give him some size and some rebounding, but he became a much bigger contributor for Exeter in that postseason run.
Yeah, and he's coming off a terrific game. He had 17 points Saturday at Boyertown in a non-league win over the Bears. You know, that's the thing with this Exeter team. There's a lot of guys who can score, whether it's Donati when he comes back, Ware, Reiner, Daubel, Kozik. We didn't even talk about Carter Oxenrider, who's going to start at the point guard. He's averaging almost 6 points a game. So they have a lot of depth, a lot of scoring balance, and a lot of size. And they're going to be a factor in Berks County come February, and I think they're going to be a factor in the District 3 5A playoffs as well.
Again, size, some depth, and what they hope will be more scoring punch added when they get a little bit healthier as the season rolls on. Again, they will get Aiden Daubel back, and he will be back in the starting lineup tonight, but Dylan Donati's still out, and they're hoping that they will get him back in the not-too-distant future. So it's the Exeter Eagles against the Reading Red Knights. We've told you about the visitors. We'll tell you about the home team when we get back to the Geico Complex as our Shell's Restaurant, Dairy Swamp Miniature Golf pregame show continues after this.
Savage 61 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is once again the #1 rated auto dealership in Pennsylvania. Thinking it's time to trade up for something newer? We offer the most insane trade-in values you'll find anywhere. Whether you're looking for a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, our dedicated team will make sure you drive away happy. Visit us today at savage61.com and see why we're Pennsylvania's top choice.
To find out how WEEU can be your affordable advertising partner, call 610-345-7338.
Hi, I'm Mike Kuhn with Kuhn Funeral Homes. Since 1937, our family has been committed to serving our community. We now have 3 active generations, as I have the honor of working with my father and son. With 5 convenient locations to serve our neighbors, Kuhn Funeral Homes continues to dedicate our family to your family. Thank you for believing in us, and we promise to always be there for you.
Spots Insurance Group is a proud sponsor of Berks County Sports. We're an award-winning nationwide agency you can trust, insuring what means most to you for over 32 years. We specialize in auto, home, renters, business, and life insurance. Remember, when you think insurance, think Spots. Visit us at spotsforinsurance.com. That's SPOTTS, 4,
Welcome back to the Geico Complex. Alongside Rich Garcella, my name is Bob McCool. Our Shell's Restaurant, Dairy Swirl, Miniature Golf pregame show will continue just a little bit longer because we are at the Geico, and that means an extended pregame show because the JV game has again gone into overtime here at Reading High School. It is an amazing phenomenon. If you ever really want to become somebody who likes overtime basketball, just come out for the JV game at the Geico when we're here. It's all but a given. So anyhow, it's 51-51. Reading High and Exeter headed into overtime at JV game. So if you're tuning us in or if you're watching us on your big screen TV on YouTube, you can go watch the end of the JV game as well as we get you set for the varsity game, the Exeter Eagles, the Reading Red Knights. And we just told you a little bit about Exeter and their 6-1 start. Different scenario going on right now for the Reading Red Knights. They got off to a great start. 3 wins to get things rolling. They beat Fells. They beat York in York High's preseason tournament. Then they got a win against McCaskey in their home opener here at the Geico Complex. All things were going in a good direction at 3-0, and then things went south for the Red Knights. They've lost 3 in a row. It started with the loss to Muhlenberg in a game we had for you earlier here on WEU, then the non-league loss in overtime to Hazleton over the weekend, and then a game we had the other night here on WEU. They lost to Wilson 52-44. So the common denominator right now for the Reading Red Knights is still trying to figure out who and what they are. The 2 givens are the combinations they have. Wesley Rosario and Justin Castro, if you just break this down kind of in pieces, that's a scoring combination that I think anybody would love to have. The Red Knights have maybe the best scoring combo going right now in Berks County. That combo right now is averaging almost 40 points a game.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bob, because Rosario is not only a facilitator, but he's also a scorer. And he's had to score on this team because he and Justin DeCastro have carried the offense through these first 6 games. DeCastro, we know, can score inside and out. He likes to go to the basket. Wilson did a really good job being aware of where he was on the floor in the fourth quarter, held him scoreless in that game Friday night. The Bulldogs were able to come back and win that game by 8. But those two guys, if you can keep them from going off, and I'm going off 25 or 30 points, you have an excellent chance to win, especially without Javon Merriweather, who's going to miss his second straight game with concussion.
Yeah, they hope to have him back. They think he will be back. The Red Knights play Saturday in a one-day tournament at Widener University. They're going to play Cheltenham Saturday afternoon, and they hope that Javon Merriweather, the sophomore, will be back. And it was kind of interesting to me, Rich, in our conversation, not so much with what Rick Perez had to say, because we know how much Rick Perez thinks of Javon Merriweather, but the flip side of it was what Jeff Van Gorder is thinking, just scouting the Red Knights and thinking what they would do defensively and how it would be impacted by whether or not Javon Merriweather is going to play or not, because obviously he doesn't know going into the conversation and going into the game whether or not Javon Merriweather is going to play or not. But they're basing their defense kind of on whether or not Merriweather, the sophomore, who, again, has only played 4 games because he got hurt, how much of an impact he has had, so much that it could impact how the Exeter Eagles choose to play defensively tonight.
Yeah, Jeff Van Gorder said they're a different team without him on the floor. He's averaging almost 15 points a game. In his last game against up at Hazleton in an 84-80 overtime loss, he had 22 points. So he can score. We've seen him play, saw him play against Muhlenberg, an outstanding sophomore with unlimited potential. And to be without him in the lineup, we saw Reading struggle to find a third and fourth scorer against Wilson.
Yeah, that's kind of what the situation was when Wilson was able to take control of the basketball game in the second half. Again, it's a tough task, but Wilson can guard with anybody. But they started to kind of double team trap a little bit with Wesley Rosario and Justin DeCastro, trying to make them give up the basketball. But from our perspective, what we were looking for was whether or not somebody else would step up for the Reading High. And it ultimately looked like it wasn't so much nobody was stepping up to score, but nobody was really stepping up to look to score. And that's a work in progress that Rick Perez is pretty much taking it on himself. He said to us at least 3 times in our conversation, that's on me, and I've got to coach better. But the answer to it is he said, there's times I look down the bench and I'm looking for a gleam of light in an eye, and I just don't see it. He just doesn't have the faith and the confidence right now on some of the guys on the bench because they haven't played.
Well, he mentioned specifically Jameer Jacob,
right?
A terrific junior. Jameer's averaging 8 points a game, but he struggled against Wilson, against Michael Glover, and finished with he finished with no points.
Right.
Exactly.
He
That's
did not
right.
score.
Jeez. And Rick said, we need him desperately, especially with Javon Merriweather out. So I look to see Jacob be more aggressive offensively tonight against Exeter. He's going to have to be, because I think Exeter's defense is going to focus on stopping DeCastro and Rosario.
Yeah, and it was what we described it as, kind of a body-on-body matchup, because Jacob is the most physical player that Reading High has. He gives them a little bit of physicality inside at 6'3". And going up against Michael Glover, he didn't really go after Michael Glover at all. And that's where Rick Perez was a little bit disappointed, because he said, that's something we need. And again, that was another thing he said, that's on me. I got to make him understand that. And the reality of it is he's going to get right back into the well tonight, because with Braylon Reinert and Aiden Dauble out there, he's going to get some physicality at his disposal again. And so it's going to go right back to Jameer Jacob to say, all right, what did he learn from the game against Wilson the other night? Can he take that forward and do it and go up against some physical players tonight for Exeter?
Yeah, and Jameer Jacob is only defensively, he's only going to be able to guard one guy. It's either going to be Reinert or Dauble. But offensively, he's going to have to score inside and take some pressure off to Castro and Rosario. And he might have to face Reinert and Dauble coming at him hard, because Reading doesn't have much more size other than Jacob. Jacob is a pretty thick young man. He's physical. He's not afraid to show that. And he's a really tough kid, but he just needs to step up offensively to give the Red Knights a better chance of winning this game.
Yeah, I thought the other piece of the puzzle was with talking with Rick Perez about Jeff Van Gorder. And Jeff I'm going to say he's new to this area because he is new to this area in terms of coaching. He's his third season at Exeter High School, but he really does kind of bring a different template, if you will, to what he does because of where he comes from. Most of the coaches in Berks County are players who were guys who played in this area and kind of grew up in this area, where Jeff Van Gorder did not. And he coached at a number of Division III schools and very successful programs before he ultimately got the Exeter job. So he brings a little bit of a different mindset to him, and he brings a lot of respect. The Berks County coaches have grown and gotten a lot of respect for Jeff Van Gorder in the short period of time that he has been there. But he's going to approach it in a couple of different ways, in a number of different ways, and it will certainly be interesting to see how the Red Knights attack it, because a lot of the teams in Berks County at their staple and at their core are playing a man-to-man defense, and the Exeter Eagles tonight are going to come out and play in a zone defense, and they're going to try to force Reading High to beat them from the perimeter.
Yeah, they're going to play a 1-2-2, and it's going to cause Reading at least a pause before they get into their offense. The other thing, Jeff Van Gorder, and we've heard this, Bob, from other coaches throughout the county about how many different sets he runs offensively. He runs a lot of different things, and Rick Perez even said it tonight. Before, we talked to him a while ago, how impressed he is with Jeff and the job that he's done, and that's it's high praise coming from somebody who's won 3 state championships. He likes what he runs. He whether it's offensively or defensively, and really has a lot of admiration and respect for Jeff Van Gorder.
For what it's worth, if you're tuning in and want to know what's going on, the JV game is now down to the final 21 seconds, and it's a 2-point lead right now for the Reading Red Knights, and Exeter has the basketball game. It is overtime of the JV game between Exeter and Reading High, and it is a 2-point game with Exeter right now having the basketball following a timeout. So that's a little bit of the reason for our delay as we begin this game tonight, Reading High and Exeter, and what would have been the final game of our December schedule, but because of the change, and again, we will have another game for you. Just want to remind you of that because it's a little bit of a abnormal spot, if you will, in the sense that we'll have a game for you the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's a little bit out of the realm of what we normally do here because of all the teams are in holiday tournaments, and it is a holiday tournament. It is going to be Reading High's holiday tournament, one of the more noted holiday tournaments in the area on a regular basis, but it will be Berks Catholic taking on Reading High.
If you are buying or selling a home, contact RE/MAX real estate agent Phil Macaronis. With over 20 years of experience and a member of the RE/MAX Hall of Fame, Phil does it all, from residential to commercial real estate sales. And with his large catalog of repeat and referral customers, you know you can depend on Phil Macaronis, no matter where you're looking for your next home. Call 610-670-2770 or call Phil directly anytime at 610-858-4555.
Noisy, squeaky, or uneven garage doors? Do they snap, crackle, or pop? Having trouble opening or closing? Get a garage door tune-up now from Overhead Door Reading. For just $99, we'll inspect, lubricate, and adjust your garage doors so they run smoothly and quietly. Don't get stuck in the driveway this winter. Call today and ask for our tune-up special. Serving the community since 1965. Overhead Door Reading. We're more than just doors. OverheadDoorReading.com.
Get your house ready to handle the extra guests, yard inflatables, and string lights. Keith HVAC, Electrical, and Plumbing has been keeping homes and businesses running smoothly for the holidays for 30 years. Plumbing, electrical, and heating systems work extra hard in the winter, so let Keith keep you cozy.
Quality you trust, comfort you deserve. Call 610-589-6461 or visit KeithHVAC.com. Get Keith HVAC, Electrical, and Plumbing for the holidays because you've got enough to worry about with the in-laws.
Welcome back to our Shell's Restaurant, Dairy Swirl, and Miniature Golf pregame show. The JV game has ended. The Reading Red Knights won it in overtime, 56-52. And I'm not sure, I know we have just a moment of technical difficulty, so I just want to reset what we began talking about. Not sure where we may have cut off. But we will have one more game for you next Monday night. It's Berks Catholic against Reading High. It is a league game. It is the first of the 2 matchups between Reading High and Berks Catholic, even though it will be part of Reading's holiday. The Saints were supposed to play in a tournament at Bishop McDevitt. Those plans fell through. Chester was supposed to play in Reading High's tournament. Chester opted out of that tournament. So the Saints were looking for a date. The Red Knights were looking for a date. They ultimately decided to play in the holiday tournament, and Reading High and Berks Catholic decided, well, why don't we just play each other, and that will be our league game. So they flip-flopped home games. The Red Knights now will head to Lloyd Wolf Gymnasium later on in the month of January. So it's two things. One, it's a game on December the 29th and a holiday tournament game, but it is a league game between the Red Knights and the Saints, and that's always a highly anticipated matchup and the first of two.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing the Saints. We saw them our first broadcast of the season against Wilson. It was a low-scoring game. The defense dominated the night, both by Berks Catholic and Wilson. But Berks Catholic is off to a terrific start in Division I. They've beaten the Bulldogs. They beat Muhlenberg the other night. Kingston McCoy, bound for Colgate, scored a career-high 40 points against the Mules. And right now, Berks Catholic's got a lot going for it. They're missing Jeremiah Kamara, transfer from Reading High. He's going to be out for an indefinite period of time. But the Saints have played very, very well. And next Monday night will be maybe the biggest challenge of all, coming up here at the Geigel and playing the Red Knights.
And then we'll be back at it again in the month of January as we get our schedule rolling on a pretty much a little bit more of a routine basis, if you will. We'll start out on Monday, January 5th with Muhlenberg at Wilson, then come back on Thursday night with Berks Catholic at Exeter. So we'll kind of fall into that Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday roll through the month of January and into February. And, of course, we will have the Berks County playoffs for you as well, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and ultimately the county championship game from Santander Arena, and then right through the district and state playoffs as we roll from February into March in our PIAA playoffs as well. But, of course, you will have all of our coverage right here, WEEU, and our video stream coverage will continue through the county and district playoffs as well on our YouTube page. That's on 830 WEEU Sports. Find it and then subscribe to it. Make it a little bit easier. Not that it's all that hard to find in the first place, but follow it. You can watch all of our games, all of our coverage, the games we've had so far this season, and all the way through. You can watch them, and if you missed any of it, you go back and watch it from its entirety. It's the Red Knights and the Exeter Eagles. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and break this game down a little bit more when we come back in a pregame show after this.
UECU is a credit union that understands Pennsylvania, what it means to grow up here, raise a family, start a business. And we're committed to being your financial partner for life. With competitive rates, exclusive member discounts, and modern technology, UECU offers personalized banking that will make you feel right at home. Visit bankingforpa.org and sign up for UECU membership through our partner association, the Pennsylvania Consumer Council. UECU, banking that understands home.
Savage 61 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is once again the #1 rated auto dealership in Pennsylvania. Thinking it's time to trade up for something newer? We offer the most insane trade-in values you'll find anywhere. Whether you're looking for a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, our dedicated team will make sure you drive away happy. Visit us today at savage61.com and see why we're Pennsylvania's top choice.
To find out how WEU can be your affordable advertising partner, call 610-345-7338.
Welcome back. Again, our Shell's Restaurant, Dairy Swirl, and Miniature Golf pregame show, Exeter and Reading High. This is technically, it's a crossover game. The Red Knights in Division I, the Eagles in Division II, and off to a good start in Division II with wins over, Conrad Weiser and Twin Valley in the path of their 6-1 start. And the Red Knights looking to kind of rebound a little bit. They are now 3-3, have lost 3 in a row, at 0-2 to begin in terms of divisional play with losses to Muhlenberg and to Wilson. So I think, Rich, this is a really, obviously it's a big game for both teams because it's a kind of a measuring stick for Exeter to see where they're at, especially now that Aiden Daubel is back into the mix. But I think it's really much more of a litmus test for the Red Knights. They need to find themselves, and I would think, as much as it seems almost impossible to say this about the Red Knights, I would think they would need a little bit of an injection of confidence at this stage of the game.
Yeah, Rick Perez told us the night of the Muhlenberg game, he was wondering how his team would react to a loss. Well, since then, they've lost 3 straight. He wants to see them come out, fired up, excited. He wants to see Wesley Rosario lead the way, be the guy. They need to play well tonight. I don't know if that's going to be enough to win this game, but they need to play well. It's an important game for them. It's not like a loss would eliminate them in Berks 1, but the fact is they'll have lost 3 games in league play on their home court to start the season, and that's going to put them in a deep hole. They have a 4th game next Monday, as we mentioned, against Berks Catholic, a league game. This is a really important game for Reading. I don't know if it's as important for Exeter, other than the fact you're playing Reading High. And this is a litmus test for the Eagles as well. But I think it's an even more important game for the Red Knights.
So let's take a look now at our keys to the game. They're brought to you by RE/MAX real estate agent Phil Macaronis. If you're buying or selling a home, Phil Macaronis is a member of the RE/MAX Hall of Fame with over 20 years of experience finding countless buyers and sellers keys to their real estate transactions. Call 610-670-2770 and ask for Phil Macaronis for the keys to buying and selling your home. It's the Exeter Eagles, the Reading Red Knights. Rich Garcella has his keys to tonight's game.
Well, there's 3 for the visiting Exeter Eagles from Coach Jeff Van Gorder. No live ball turnovers. That means no turnovers that could lead to transition baskets for Reading. The second one is sprint back on defense, because he knows, and everybody who knows anything about Reading High basketball knows the Red Knights love to run the floor. The third thing Jeff said is protect the paint. Prevent Justin DeCastro, Wesley Rosario from driving to the basket. That's critical for the Eagles tonight. For the home team, the Reading High Red Knights, keep the pressure high, Rick Perez said. Keep it very high. They're going to have to pressure the basketball. It's going to be really important, even more so tonight. He also mentioned they need to keep their poise. He felt like they disappeared for about 2.5 quarters the other night against Wilson, lost their poise, lost their way. They have to maintain that for 32 minutes. The third thing is he used the phrase assist the ball. He wants the Red Knights to pass the ball, better ball movement, find the open man, get easier shots, and that he hopes will result in more success, especially against that 1-2-2 zone of Exeter.
Let's turn on tonight's spotlight. That's brought to you by Huber's Auto Group. Tonight we focus the spotlight on Reading High junior forward Jameer Jacob, and we'll tell you why in a moment. Huber's is the region's answer for your car rental needs, whether taking the whole crew in a luxury van to Florida, just a few days to the mountains in an SUV. Huber's stands by their reservations, ensuring the ride you book is the ride you get. Check out their inventory. Get a quote at HuberAuto.com. That's HUBER Auto.com. And as we said, the focus tonight, the spotlight, is on the junior forward Jameer Jacob. 6'3" and a very physical built young man. The question will be, will he bring that physicality to the floor tonight? As we mentioned earlier, as we were talking earlier in our pregame show about Jameer Jacob, and he was not a big factor in the Wilson game in the sense that he did not score. And again, wasn't the physical presence of Michael Glover. They just didn't ultimately want to tangle with the big future Division I tight end, or was it just something else? But Jameer Jacob just did not have a factor in the game, and he will face, some physical players, most notably Braylon Reinert for the Exeter Eagles tonight. And Jameer Jacob must have a bigger presence in the game, because as good as Wesley Rosario and as good as Justin DeCastro have been so far for Reading High, they simply cannot do it alone. And they ran out of some gas in that second half against Wilson, and the Bulldogs pulled away, and they just did not have a third scoring option. And Rick Perez says, at this point in time, without Javon Merriweather, it has to be Jameer Jacob. He has to give us more offensively if we're going to be able to compete. And so we'll see. And that's why we point that spotlight on Jameer Jacob tonight. Can he match up with the physicality that he's going to see from the Exeter Eagles, and can he be a factor? And then the other piece of it, Rich, is also on Rosario and DeCastro, because they had the points the other night, but they too also have to stay on the floor. They got themselves in foul trouble. They end up spending a lot of minutes on the bench. DeCastro picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter alone, had to come out with over 4 minutes left to go in the first quarter. He was on the bench with 2 fouls.
Yeah, they risked, in the first half, they risked a third foul a couple times, reaching in and making physical contact with Wilson ball handlers. Rick Perez said they don't know any other way to play, and it's going to be interesting to see how he manages that if they, again, get into foul trouble. We saw it against Muhlenberg, too. They need to stay out of foul trouble. They need to be on the floor to give Reading a better chance of winning. The other thing they have to do, Bob, they got to take care of the basketball. The last 2 games we've had them, Muhlenberg and Wilson, 23 turnovers against Muhlenberg, 18 against Wilson. Now, the 23 against Muhlenberg plays at a frenetic pace. Okay, maybe you can see that. Wilson doesn't do that as much. They're more of a half-court defensive team. They're not trapping as much. Yet Reading turned the ball over 18 times, and that cannot happen again tonight if the Red Knights want to win this game.
And it's so interesting you say that because you're going into the Geico complex and you're going up against Reading High and a team coached by Rick Perez, and you know you're going to get 32 minutes coming at you in full velocity, and you start thinking you can't turn it over. And then the flip side of it, if Reading's giving it right back to you, then it's kind of defeating the purpose of what, in fact, is maybe your best advantage to the Red Knights, which is to force the other team into some turnovers. Because every time you talk to any opposing coach, when you're playing against Reading High, and especially when you're playing against the Geico, we've got to protect the basketball. It starts with we have to protect the basketball.
Yeah, Wilson won by 8 points and had 16 turnovers. But the point is they had fewer turnovers than Reading. And if Exeter does that tonight, if the Eagles have fewer turnovers than the Red Knights, I like their chances.
Time for us to take a look at tonight's starting lineups. They're brought to you by Victor Emmanuel Beneficial Society. They've been serving authentic homemade Italian dishes for over 110 years. New memberships are now being accepted for only $10. The facility at 311 Hazel Street in Reading is also available for rental for private parties, banquets, and celebrations. Victor Emmanuel, a taste of Italy, right here in Reading. For the Exeter Eagles, coached by Jeff Van Gorder, now in his third season in Rifton, he's 40-24. Again, he got his team to the District 3 5A championship game a season ago before losing to Hershey. And again, Hershey off to a great start again this season. Paul Blackburn has that team rolling right back again in 25-26. They're off to a 7-0 start.
They have that Cameron Sweeney back.
Yeah, they do. He's averaging like 28 a game, and for what it's worth. And certainly Exeter saw enough of him. But hey, you never know. Might see him again in 2026 because Exeter is built for the postseason. And this is the way the Eagles will go tonight. It's been a little bit of a volume of change for Jeff Van Gorder because of the injury situation. But here are the constants of what they've had so far this season. Jaden Ware, 6'1 senior. Michael Fisher, 5'11 senior. And now Carter Oxenrider, a 5'11 junior who has made his way into the starting lineup and has come up big in a couple of games for Exeter, giving them a little bit more scoring punch. And somebody who was not a piece of that great Exeter football coaching run for the Eagles that got into the district playoffs and ultimately came out of it a little bit banged up, and that was part of the problem. The other starters, 6'3 junior Braylon Reiner and 6'2 senior Aiden Daubel. And for Aiden Daubel, the two-sport standout, unfortunately also a two-injury standout as a part of those two sports. Rich mentioned it earlier. He had the ankle injury in the game against, we had it for you against Conestoga Valley. He came out of that game a couple of different times with a bad ankle, and then he played in the first game of the season against Pottstown, but he ended up twisting the other ankle. And so he had two bad ankles going for him for a while, but he is back in the starting lineup. He got one practice under his belt, but here he is back in the lineup. And again, averaged 16 points per game last year, but he is an outstanding basketball player, a great presence. He'll play football at the collegiate level, but he could play basketball at the collegiate level as well. There's no question about that. Very physical player, but he can spot up for a three, and just a very heady basketball player as well. So Aiden Daubel back in the starting lineup. So it's Daubel, Ware with the experience, and then Braylon Reiner, who ended up becoming a major factor for them last year and is off to a double-digit start at 12.3 points per game. Jaden Ware, 13.6. Daubel, in the one game he played, he scored 9 points. And then Michael Fisher and Carter Oxenrider. Oxenrider just under 6 points per game. But also Dylan Donati missing, played the first 3 games and played them very well. He had 18 points in the season opener against Pottstown. Came back in his second game against Pottsgrove and had 20, and then 8, and then 19 in the lone loss for the Eagles this season against Penn Manor. So he had 18, 20, and 19 in the first 3 games. But unfortunately, in that Penn Manor game, as that's where he suffered this calf strain, they're hoping that he will be back next week when Exeter plays in the Cedar Crest Holiday Tournament. So that's the starting 5 for the Eagles. For Rick Perez and the Red Knights, Coach Perez, they call him Lefty right now here at the Geico Complex.
He's on the injured list.
He is his arm, the right arm in a sling, but he is coaching hurt, and he is out there with that arm in a sling. The right arm is in a sling, but he said, I said, how are you going to give a chest bump when it comes to timeout? He said, well, there's a will, there's a way. The Red Knights and Rick Perez now 13 seasons, 284 wins, 77 losses. He's won 6 Berks titles. He's won 5 District 3 titles. And, of course, he will always live in infamy here in Reading High School because he won 3 state titles for the Red Knights. And at the 3-3 start, here is where the Red Knights will go. Again, the scoring combination, Justin DeCastro, Wesley Rosario. Rosario, the senior point guard, 6 foot tall and averaging 18.3 points per game. DeCastro, the off guard at 6'2", averaging 21.5 points per game. Jameer Jacob, as we talked about before, he was our Huber Auto Group Spotlight Player of the game tonight. The 6'3" junior averaging 8 points per game. Cameron Jones, the 6-foot sophomore, who's a very good defensive player, really hasn't become a major piece of the puzzle offensively to this point in time for the Red Knights. But again, just a 10th grader averaging 5 points per game. Michael Portalatin, who did not play for the Red Knights prior to this season, but is back out now and has become a starter in the absence of the sophomore Javon Merriweather. Merriweather, in his first couple of games for Reading High, as the 10th grader, had gone off to a great start, was averaging 14.8 points per game, and unfortunately suffered a concussion and is in the concussion protocol. Missed the last 2 games, will miss tonight's game, and they expect that he will be back on Saturday when the Red Knights played Cheltenham at Widener University. So they expect to have Merriweather back and then be back at full strength, if you want to call it that. And we talked about that with Rick Perez, that with Merriweather back, and now with Portalatin getting a little bit more experience as a starter, and then there's Tyji Slaughter, who is a freshman who's coming off the bench, and then we got a chance to see Brandon Dunn. He rolled another player down, if you will, in the rotation, minutes out of Brandon Dunn. And the other piece of it was Brandon Dunn. We were talking about players who at least wanted the ball in their hands or looked to step up, and Brandon Dunn knocked down a 3 in the first half in that win or that loss against Wilson High School. So a player who he could at least maybe get a couple of minutes from off his bench.
Oh yeah, he wasn't intimidated whatsoever. He took 2 shots right away when he came into the game in the first quarter, ended up the game with 4 points. No, I think Rick has to like that he wasn't intimidated by the setting, the environment. He just went out and played his game, and he looked just like the other guys. He looked like he had a ton of experience and did what he had to do.
And then from that point forward, and that's one of the things we talked about with Coach Perez. Like, look, once you get Merriweather back, and now you get a little bit more experience, you roll into January, and if you have a 7-man rotation, and 7 of those guys include Rosario and DeCastro, he feels as if that can be enough. A 7-man rotation at the high school basketball level can be enough to make a run not only in the county playoffs but into the district playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
as well.
Ideally he would like to have 9 or 10 guys deep, just like Matt Cauldron has at Wilson. I mean, he had 9 players scoring in that game Friday night for the Bulldogs, and their depth really, I thought, affected the Red Knights and helped Wilson win the game. But with 7 guys, once Merriweather comes back, this is a different team. Jeff Van Gorder said it. Rick said it. We noticed it. They are a different team without Javon Merriweather.
So, again, the starters for the Eagles before we head to break for Jeff Van Gorder's crew tonight. Aiden Dauble back in the mix along with Braylon Reinert, Michael Fisher, Jaden Ware, and Braylon Reinert. That's the 5 who will start for Exeter. All of 3 seniors in Dauble, Ware, and Fisher. Reinert and Oxenrider both are juniors. For the Red Knights and Rick Perez, senior Wesley Rosario, junior Jameer Jacob, junior Justin DeCastro, sophomore Cameron Jones, and in the mix tonight, senior Michael Portalatin in the absence of sophomore Javon Merriweather. That's the other piece of it. You throw, with the exception of Rosario, who's obviously a big piece of the puzzle for the Red Knights, it is very much a young basketball team for Reading High School. They have their work cut out for tonight as they host the Exeter Eagles. They're 6-1. The Red Knights are 3-3, and it's live on 8:30 a.m. WEEU in Reading. Exeter, Reading High, tip-off comes your way when we come back after this on WEEU in Reading.
When the pressure's on and it's time to make your best move, the Susan McFadden team with Keller Williams Platinum Realty is here to help you score big in today's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or planning your next play, Susan's experience and dedication make her the MVP you want on your side. For winning results and a team that never stops hustling, trust the Susan McFadden team with Keller Williams, your home court advantage.
Support your Berks County community while purchasing great new and used furniture, appliances, and building supplies at the Habitat for Humanity Restore of Berks County. Located at 5370 Allentown Pike in Temple, the Restore carries brand name new and used appliances, furniture, home decor, and more. Many new items are manufacturer direct and are available at unbeatable prices. Stop by the Habitat for Humanity Restore of Berks County Tuesdays through Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or visit our website at restoreberks.org for more information.
Hey, Berks County, Chick-fil-A Catering makes game day even better. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nuggets, mac and cheese, and chocolate chunk cookies. Perfect for your next gathering. Place your order through the Chick-fil-A app, online, or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant at Broadcasting Square, 5th Street Highway, and Exeter Commons. Take cooking off your plate this football season and enjoy the perfect spread with Chick-fil-A Catering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
This season, stick with everyone's favorite snack, Diefenbach's Kettle Chips. Legend has it, Mark Diefenbach loved kettle cooked chips so much, he turned his Berks County kitchen into the ultimate snack factory. Now, over 60 years later, we're still making that delicious PA crafted crunch with the same passion and quality right where it all began. So crunch into some flavorful Diefenbach's Kettle Chips today and snack on a delicious tradition.
It's tip-off time at the Geico, and tonight's tip-off is presented by the Coley Insurance Group. Discover the power of choice with Goosehead Insurance, the Coley Insurance Group, with locations in Muhlenberg and Wyomissing. They're a fully independent insurance agency with access to over 40 top-rated insurance carriers to ensure you get the best coverage at the best price. Whether it's auto, home, or life insurance, they have you covered. At Goosehead Insurance, the Coley Insurance Group, the power of choice is yours. Call their team today at 484-848-6088. Alongside Rich Garcella, my name is Bob McCool. We are set to go. The Eagles in the visiting black with the blue and white trim. The Red Knights in their home whites with the red and black trim. And again, it'll be Jaden Ware, Michael Fisher, Braylon Reiner, Carter Oxenrider, and Aiden Dauble to start for Exeter. For the Red Knights, Michael Portalatin, Cameron Jones, Justin DeCastro, Jameer Jacob, and Wesley Rosario. Last-minute pieces of advice from both coaches as the two teams head to the floor. Our officials for tonight's game, Adonis Fleming, Troy Lister, and Tim Negrini on the whistles.
Pretty veteran crew. Very good crew.
We are set to go from the Geico complex. The ball's in the air, and Cameron Jones will control it for the Red Knights. Quickly gets it to Justin DeCastro, and back to Jones at the top. Sophomore guard drives and kicks it back to DeCastro, who does what he likes to do, drive into traffic. Three defenders around him, kicks it out. Rosario drives inside as well. Inside, DeCastro works his way underneath the basket, gets the shot off. Portalatin comes up with a rebound. Jaden Ware took it away from him, and the Red Knights turn it over as a result of the quick defense of Jaden Ware, and Exeter has its first possession. Michael Fisher gives it up for Braylon Reiner, who swings it around for Oxenrider, who runs right into Portalatin, no whistle, but then throws it away. Jameer Jacob comes up with a steal. Exeter turns it right back. DeCastro thought about pulling the trigger. They sag off of Jones. He drives instead and rolls it off the rim. No good. Tipped around. Portalatin gets his hands on it again. His putback is up and home.
Good hustle by Michael Portalatin so far here in the first minute.
Couple of offensive rebounds for the 5'10 guard, and he has the first points of the game as the Red Knights get on the board first. Here's a dribble drive by Fisher, drives in, and it's blocked by Rosario. Controlled by Jones. Back come the Red Knights. DeCastro up and over Dauble. It's off the rim, not there. Braylon Reiner pulls down the rebound. The Red Knights trying to score in transition, come up empty. Michael Fisher will bring up the floor. They sag off of him. He'll take it right to the rim and lay it in for two.
Nice move. It's going to be interesting to see how Fisher and Oxenrider react to this pressure. They haven't seen Reading play before.
Rosario quickly back up and over the defense, not there. Rebound pulled down by Reiner. Rosario knocked it away, and now a foul on the scramble for the ball as Fisher and Rosario ran into one another, and they're going to get Rosario on the foul. So Rosario could not finish and then poked it away from Reinert for a moment and then commits a foul. We're going to get a substitution early on. Brandon Dunn is going to check in for Reading High, and Justin DeCastro will come out.
Looks like he might have been shaken up, Bob. DeCastro, trainer's going to look at him at the end of the Reading High bench.
It looked like he was limping just a tad as he came off the floor, and it would have had to been an injury to get him out this early.
Red Knights can't afford to lose him.
Good give and go. Back to Braylon Reiner, and it's good from Jaden Ware on the assist.
Really nice give and go there. Really nice entry pass by Ware.
Exeter has its first lead as a result, 4-2. Portalatin drives, kicks it back. Rosario for three in the lead. No. Off the back iron, rebounded by Dunn on a bounce. Fakes two defenders out of his way, drives in, scores, and gets fouled.
Yeah, we mentioned on the pregame show, Brandon Dunn has no fear, none whatsoever, and got the offensive rebound and went to the hole, scored the basket, drew the foul.
Split two defenders in the process, and then Reinert fouled him from behind. So that puts him on the line and a chance to give the Red Knights the lead with the old school three-point play. If he can finish at the line, he does not. So we're tied at 4 as Aiden Dauble pulls down the rebound. 4-4 our score, 5:50 left to go first quarter. Dauble has not put up a shot as of yet, guarded by Cameron Jones. Now he gives him off. Dauble has it left wing. Will fire the three off the rim. Long rebound is run down by Oxenrider, and Exeter gets another look. Michael Fisher, Jr., swings it around for Ware on the left wing. Guarded by Jones, gives it up. Dauble one low block, Reinert on the other. Now for Ware now on the right wing. Lob over the top for Reinert, couldn't catch it. Deflected into the hands of Cameron Jones. Exeter turnover.
Nice job by Jacob. Fronted the pass, forced the pass to be errant over Reinert's head.
Goes right at Braylon Reinert. Going to get him on a block. That's number 2 on Braylon Reinert. So the foul trouble early in this one turns out to be against Exeter as Braylon Reinert picks up 2 quick ones. Michael Fisher's shaking up a little bit. He's going to come out as Cameron Scott, 5'11 sophomore guard, will check in. And they're going to have to get Reinert out now as well after picking up that second foul. Here comes Mason Goodhart, 6'3 senior, as Reinert will come out. So the Red Knights will inbound underneath. They inbound it for Brandon Dunn, trying to post up for Jacob, guarded now by Dauble. That's actually Rosario, excuse me. They kick it back out to Dunn, drives into the traffic, kicks it to Jacob. Jacob goes right by one defender, and then blocked by Jaden Ware, helping out defensively, and the Exeter Eagles get it back. Almost turned over by Scott, finds it on the opposite side for Goodhart. And out top, Dauble, top of the key for 3. That's no good, and rebounded by Red Knight underneath. It's Brandon Dunn. Up ahead, DeCastro back out on the floor for Reading High. Rosario drives into the paint, trying to get the shot off. Lost the handle, gets it back, and scores inside.
Bob, so far we've seen what we talked about in the pregame show. Rosario and DeCastro is back in the game, attacking the basket, getting into the lane.
Red Knights back on top, 6-4. Here's a 3 from the corner by Carter Oxenrider, and he buried it. Left all alone by the Red Knight defense, and Oxenrider makes them pay. Exeter's back up on top. And right back goes Jacob inside. They get Jameer Jacob up off the glass for 2.
First points in 2 games. Went scoreless against Wilson. Very aggressive so far here.
Red Knights back up on top now, 8-7 on our 4th lead change the first 4 minutes. Here's a cutter to Oxenrider. Back to the original passer in Wade, who flies to the hoop and lays it in for 2.
Yeah, really nice cut by Jaden Ware and great find by Carter Oxenrider.
Puts Exeter back up on top, back on the seesaw as Jaden Ware gets his first 2. 9-8, Exeter back up on top. 3:45, Rosario inside to Jacob. Kick out to Castro for 3. Back iron. Rebound controlled ultimately by Aiden Dauble and Exeter. Cameron Scott now taking it across the floor, gives it up for Dauble, into the corner for Oxenrider, who just hit a big 3 for Exeter. Here's Ware, thought about pulling the trigger on the 3. That's not really his game. He'll give it up for Dauble. He's not afraid to it, and there's a foul away from the basket.
Is this on Rosario?
If it is, it's number 2.
It is. Yeah, you could just see his body language.
Yep.
Wow. Again, we talked about foul trouble being so critical for Reading. Wesley Rosario with 2 fouls here in the first 4.5 minutes.
So he'll have to come out. And back into the game comes Michael Portalatin. Also into the game for the Red Knights comes the freshman Taiji Slaughter, as Jacob will come out. 3:20 to go in the first. 9-8 Exeter on top. Eagles have the basketball. Scott drives, trying to get by Portalatin. Pulls up. Tough shot from the foul line. No. Tipped around. Slaughter saves it for Jones. The Red Knights have it back. Up ahead for DeCastro in the open floor. Off balance. No, but he gets fouled. He'll draw 2. So Justin DeCastro go to the free throw line looking for his first points of the night. That's going to be on Scott. His first, Exeter's 3rd of this first quarter.
Yeah, Reading got out in transition. DeCastro went hard to the basket and drew the foul.
Castro's been excellent at the free throw line so far in his junior season. As he makes the first of 2 here. That makes him 19 for 22 at the free throw line so far on the year. Also brings the score even, pending the second free throw from Justin DeCastro. He misses the second, and the rebound is controlled by Exeter's Jackson Kozik, who just came in the game, and now a foul against Reading High on the chase for the basketball.
Cameron Jones.
It's on Jones. So the score is tied at 9 after the 1 for 2 from DeCastro, and it will be Exeter basketball after the foul called on Cameron Jones trying to poke the ball loose.
We talked about Jackson Kozak and how what Jeff Van Corder said. He's been a pleasant surprise. He's added some leadership to this team.
Ware tried to throw it over the top of the defense. Slaughter got a hand on it, forces the turnover. Good play by the freshman, Taji Slaughter. Red Knights have it back.
A lazy pass by Exeter. You underestimated Reading getting back on defense.
Slaughter goes right at the defense, gets Ware backpedaling a little bit, but could not finish. Everything but the finish for Slaughter, and Kozak comes away with it for the Eagles. Up ahead, Ware, dangerous pass. Kozak catches, drives, and scores.
Yeah, we saw Jackson Kozak be such a valuable part of Berks Catholic's run last year to the district championship and the PIAA state final.
DeCastro almost lost the handle on it, and now a foul on the loose ball, and I think it's going to be against Exeter. Oxenrider tried to get it back after the turnover for the Eagles and commits a foul in the process. So it's going to be Reading High basketball, and that's the fourth team foul against Exeter. The next one puts the Red Knights in the bonus. 2:21 left to go in the first. It's an 11-9 lead right now for Exeter after the bucket by Jackson Kozak.
Reading doing okay, hanging in there with Wesley Rosario on the bench with 2 fouls.
Ware almost took away the inbounds pass. Jones has it back against this zone defense for the Eagles. 3-2 zone defense with Kozak and Goodhart playing the back line. To the corner for Jones. Skip pass out high for Dunn. Foul line. Jones left open for 3. Yes, rattles it home.
Cameron Jones can hit that shot if he's left alone, and he was left alone there.
6th lead change of this first quarter puts the Red Knights back up on top, 12-11 inside of 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Goodhart fakes left, goes baseline, up and under, blocked and fouled. Mason Goodhart will pick himself up. He'll shoot 2 with Slaughter. It's called for the Red Knight foul. That's his first, Reading High's 4th. So the next foul either side puts your opponent in the 2-shot bonus the rest of the quarter. Mason Goodhart will shoot 2 foul shots here, fouled in the act. First one, no good. Jameer Jacob coming back in now for Reading High. Michael Fisher, shaken up a little while ago, comes back in now for the Eagles. So it's Scott Fisher, or is it? No, Zayden Dauble's also at the scorer tables.
Confusion. I think Fisher didn't check in, and so he came into the game, and then he went back to the scorers table.
And I think Dauble is at the scorers table to come in for Goodhart, who is the shooter. So right now they're getting an explanation as to where we've seen this, because we've done this in some places we're at the scorers table where guys just come off the bench and they want to come running right in because the play is dead, but you have to check in at the scorers table. So now Fisher is allowed into the game, and Cameron Scott will come out. And again, Dauble is at the scorers table, in for Goodhart, who's at the free throw line. And he makes the second, so that will allow Dauble to come in. So Mason Goodhart gets his first point of the night and ties the game up at 12-12 as a result.
Hey, Goodhart made that foul shot after a long wait. Able to do that.
So the Red Knights have it back with 1:40 left to go in the first, tied at 12. Cameron Jones, Michael Portalatin, Justin DeCastro, Jameer Jacob, Taji Slaughter, the 5 on the floor. Jacob trying to force it to a cutter, and Portalatin back to DeCastro on the left wing. Jacob comes up high. Ware almost took it away. Portalatin gets it back. Jones left alone for another 3, and gets a second in a row.
That was a little deeper than the first one, but again, nobody on him. Cameron Jones found it and drained it.
His 3rd and 4th 3 of the season. The Red Knights are up by that 3, 15-12. Ware to try to match that a long way away. No. Cameron Jones pulls down the rebound for the Red Knights. He wants to go. Up ahead for Jameer Jacob. Up and under and home for 2.
Yeah, that's what Jeff Van Gorder was afraid of. The Eagles not getting back on defense. Reading took advantage of it.
Largest lead either way is a 5-point advantage for the Red Knights. Skip pass. Oxenrider for a 3. May have been deflected by Jones. Kozak with a rebound. No. Dauble with a putback. That's no good. And a foul on the rebound. Macau Portalatin comes down with yet another rebound at 5'10", and he got fouled in the process, and that's going to put him on the free throw line in the bonus. Fouls on Kozak, his first, Exeter's 5th, so Portalatin to the other end of the free throw other end will shoot 2 at the free throw line. So Portalatin has not scored, has a field goal so far and a couple of huge rebounds, and he hit a dead spot on the rim as well, and it fell through for the first of 2 free throws.
Bob, this is the 3rd game that we've had of Reading. We've seen the Red Knights play well in stretches like they are playing now, but they can't sustain it. It's going to be interesting to see, can they sustain this the rest of the game?
Port Latin about to shoot a second. Oxenrider will come out, and Braylon Reinert. How about this move for Jeff Van Gorder with 2 fouls and 44 seconds left to go in the first quarter, back on the floor. Port Latin second is good. 4 for Port Latin. The lead reaches 7 for the Red Knights, 19-12. Now 40 seconds to go. Red Knights stretch it to a 1-2-2 three-quarter court. Exeter beats it. Ware in the paint. Floater for 2.
Nice move. Ware cut through the middle of the Reading full court pressure, scored a running shot.
Ends a 7-0 Red Knight advantage. And now we'll see if Reading can hold for one shot here with 25 seconds left to go in period number 1 and a 5-point lead. Stretch out the 4 corners. Cameron Jones has it right now in the outer right corner.
Let's see if
Skips it around for DeCastro and a timeout Reading High.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's see if they try to attack Braylon Reinert, who's on the floor with 2 fouls. Maybe with Jacob or with Slaughter.
Yeah, that'd be a huge spot. We'll see if Jeff Van Gorder maybe gets Reinert out now for these final 13 seconds of this first quarter to make sure that I think that's exactly what happened because Mason Goodhart just came to the scores table. So you got to think that that's part of it. To Rich's point, go after the guy who has 2 fouls, see if you can get that third on him. Jeff Van Gorder is going to try to make sure to protect that.
Bob, we talked about this. Reading has been looking for scores other than Justin DeCastro and Wesley Rosario. They've gotten it so far tonight. Cameron Jones with a pair of 3s, Port Latin with 4, Jacob with 4. They're getting production from others.
And, of course, they've had to because Rosario has been on the bench now for a while with 2 fouls, just like DeCastro was against Wilson on Friday night, picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter. Rosario does it here, and now here he comes right back in for this last possession for Reading High offensively. 13.6 left to go in the first quarter. Reading High on top 19-14, trying to finish out the first quarter. In the hands of Cameron Jones, who gives it up for Rosario. Guarded by Fisher, goes the opposite way of the screen, drives into traffic, dumps it back for Slaughter. Freshman off the rim, no. Dauble with the rebound. Exeter will not get a shot off to end the first quarter. But Reading High, through the first 12 minutes, has a 5-point advantage. After 1 at the Geigel. The Red Knights 19, the Exeter Eagles 14. Back with period number 2 on WEEU in Reading after this.
Hey, Berks County, Chick-fil-A Catering makes game day even better. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nuggets, mac and cheese, and chocolate chunk cookies. Perfect for your next gathering. Place your order through the Chick-fil-A app, online, or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant at Broadcasting Square, 5th Street Highway, and Exeter Commons. Take cooking off your plate this football season and enjoy the perfect spread with Chick-fil-A Catering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
Shop, earn, and save with the Redner's Rewards Program. Purchase select items at Redner's Markets and unlock big savings on groceries with fantastic deals like buy 3, get the 4th free. Redeem your points and save on fuel at one of our 7 Redner's Quick Stop locations throughout Berks County, and treat yourself to made-to-order sandwiches, fried chicken, coffee, and more. Discover tons of special offers, digital deals, and surprise savings available to rewards customers. Start saving today. Simply sign up at the store or online at rednersmarkets.com.
We get set to start quarter number 2 alongside Rich Garcelle. My name is Bob McCool. 19-14, Reading High on top as we get set for period number 2. The Red Knights with a 7-0 run to tail end of that first quarter to open up what was then a 7-point lead. Exeter ends up scoring the final 2 points of the first period.
So Rick Perez is going to roll the dice here. He's going to keep Wesley Rosario on the floor. We thought he was just putting him in for that last offensive possession, but he's going to stay on the floor with 2 fouls.
So too is Braylon Reinert as the ball is poked away momentarily by Cameron Jones. Exeter recovers it. Ware dumps it inside for Kozik, stripped away by Rosario. Exeter turns it over to start the second quarter, and the Red Knights have it back on the steal by Wesley Rosario. Down low for Jacob. Turns to face the foul-prone Braylon Reinert tonight. Kicks it out instead for Cameron Jones, and the Red Knights will reset. Jones at the point. DeCastro on the left wing, Rosario on the right. Dangerous pass. It's knocked away by Fisher. Turnover Red Knights. Fisher up ahead. Beautiful pass to Ware for 2.
Yeah, Reading did not get back on that turnover.
Jaden Ware's got 6 points on this one. Here's DeCastro pulling up from inside the foul line for 2.
First field goal of the night for the Reading High leading scorer.
21-16 as a result from DeCastro's 2. Rick Perez talks about his mid-range game, and that's exactly what he showed right now. And now we just picked up a foul here. Is that on Rosario? It is.
It is. Yep. It absolutely pushed. I think he pushed Reiner to the floor.
It's what we talked about with Rick Perez before the game. Like it's that understanding of the situation. Like, you do us no good if you pick up another foul, just to kind of dial it back a notch, and it's just not there.
And he said they don't know how to play, but turning it down a notch, but they have to, because especially Rosario and DeCastro, they're so important to this team.
So Exeter's trying to inbounds now on their own side of the bucket. 20-21-16 is our score. Red Knights still lead it. We are just about a minute into quarter number 2. Fisher trying to inbound it to Reinert. Will skip it across instead for Jaden Ware.
Reading, as it usually does, overplaying everything.
And they take it away. Is just into the game as Kalik Weaver. He came in when Rosario came out, and he comes up with a steal. So 2 turnovers for Exeter in this quarter, and 5 now on the night. Red Knights lead is 5, 6:45 left to go in the first half. Jones around for Weaver inside, but he traveled before he threw it. Tried to make the entry pass inside of Jacob, but traveled first. So the two teams have combined for 4 turnovers. Jeff Van Gorder is now going to take Jaden Ware out of the game as well. Carter Oxenrider back in.
I got to think that's not going to be long.
Still have not yet gotten anything from Aiden Dauble other than a couple of missed threes. Has not yet contributed offensively in terms of scoring column. He's got the ball right now.
Yeah, he's got 6 rebounds, but he hasn't been able to score.
Gives it up for Fisher, trying to get it inside to Reinert. Gives it up for Kozik instead. His foul line jumper is no good. Reinert tried to save it, but stepped on the end line in the process, and Reading High will get the possession right back again. So Cameron Jones kind of assuming the point guard role tonight, especially now that Rosario is on the bench with foul troubles. Gets that 3-2 zone defense for Exeter. Castro, right side. Trying to beat a man off the dribble. Double team comes to it. Gives it for Weaver, who touch passes it inside for Slaughter. Back to the Castro. Left elbow jumper. Off the rim, no. Tipped around, controlled by Aiden Dauble in heavy traffic.
Dauble is such a good rebounder. He's just so smart. Knows where the ball is. Has that instinct.
Smart enough as well to kind of just deflect it to himself in a better position to grab it. He's got it now on the offensive end. Guarded by Jacob. Gives it up instead for Kozik. Trying to force it down low for Reinert. Can't get it to him. Instead, it's Oxenrider. Trying to get by the defense of Weaver. Gives it up for Kozik. Nice crossover dribble. Jackson Kozik, left hand, no. Reinert pulls down a rebound. His putback is no good as Reinert and Dauble collided with one another. And it kind of set Reinert off stride, and he missed a shot. And so now it's Reading High's basketball with 5:10 left to go in the first half. Offensive has gone cold here. Jones, nice find inside. Jameer Jacob through traffic and lays it in.
Yeah, Reinert had Reinert low, and Reinert had to back off, or he picked up his 3rd foul.
Jameer Jacob was 6, and the lead is 7 for Reading High, 23-16. Here's Dauble driving inside. No. Put back by Kozik is good, and a foul.
Yeah, Kozik is just adds a different dimension to this Exeter team. He has a nose for the ball, especially when on the offensive end.
I believe they're going to get Jacob on the foul. He was laying on the ground trying to defend and really in no position to do anything, and I think he gets called for the foul that puts Kozik on the line.
I think it's going to be on Weaver, Bob.
It is on Weaver. You are correct. So it's number 1 on Kalik Weaver, but the bucket good by Kozik, and now a chance to make this a 5-point play for Exeter. Or 3-point play and 5 points for Kozik. And he does. So Kozik with 5, and the lead is 4. 23-19. Reading High on top. Red Knights have the basketball. 4:45 left to go in the first half. Jacob, Jones, around to DeCastro, along with Weaver and Porta Latin back on the floor for the Red Knights. DeCastro through traffic. Up, fouled. Justin DeCastro is going to the line to shoot 2.
That's going to be on Kozik.
Actually, I think they're calling that on Goodhart. Yep.
Oh,
it is
okay.
on Mason Goodhart, his first against the Eagles in the second quarter, and DeCastro back at the free throw line. 1 for 2 at the stripe so far tonight, makes the first here. And that's the game of Justin DeCastro. He loves the drive to the bucket, trying to draw some contact in the process. That's what he's doing here. Makes the first, misses the second. Here's Portalatin with another Reading High offensive rebound. Another look for Jones on the three is well short. Tipped around, tipped a second time, and a third, and DeCastro saves it. The Red Knights keep it. Heads up play by Justin DeCastro, and another look for Reading High. Jones beats his man off a dribble, dumps it off nicely to Jacob, not there, and rebounded by Goodhart.
Like Jacob, uncontested layup. He just lost control of it.
And there's an offensive foul as Oxenrider and Weaver got tangled up. They call the offensive foul on Carter Oxenrider. Red Knights will get it back.
That's his second. Ware coming back in the game.
It's also number 2 on the Eagles, and here does comment Jaden Ware. Oxenrider will come out. 4:08 left to go in the second. Red Knights lead is 5, and they've got the basketball. 24-19, Reading High on top. And against that 3-2, Red Knights in no hurry with each possession, especially with a 5-point advantage. Portalatin, they sag off of him, around for Weaver. Try to force it to Jones, threw it away. And the Eagles will throw it right back as Fisher's pass to Aiden Dauble was behind him, and an unforced error by Exeter gives it right back to Reading High.
Yeah, they're the kind of turnovers that will drive Jeff Van Gorder nuts. That, as you said, Bob, unforced mistake.
Fisher now comes out. Cameron Scott back in. Scott, 5'11" sophomore guard, checks back into the game. The Red Knights, again, at a 5-point advantage. Right wing is Cameron Jones, who's hit 2 big threes in his first half for Reading High. They sag off him. He thought about the three, drives inside instead. Skip past a dangerous one. DeCastro has it. And the Red Knights being deliberate. 3:15 left to go in the first half.
Not only with a 5-point lead, but with Rosario on the bench with 3 fouls.
Good look from Jones inside. DeCastro, Stearns shoots, no. Tipped up once and no good. Portalatin got a hand on it, but that was as much as he could do. Dauble, 3 for 3. Still can't find the range, and Portalatin with another rebound for Reading High. Inside of 3 minutes left to go in the first half. Red Knights trying to add to a 5-point lead. Jones, too much for Portalatin. He could not save it. Turnover, Reading High.
That's the 4th turnover this quarter by Reading, and that was unforced as well.
Braylon Reinert back in as both coaches right now trying to find a mix of somebody to give them some offense as Reinert will check back in. Goodhart out.
Bob, it looks like Dauble is a little reluctant to drive to the basket. He's taking threes.
Reinert dumps it inside for Dauble. There's a bucket and a foul. Great touch pass. Kozik to Reinert to Dauble for 2 and a foul.
Yeah, that was a really nice possession by Exeter. Foul's going to be on Weaver. That's his second. Really nice possession. Moved the basketball, broke the press, and then Reinert finds Dauble for the layup and a possible 3-point play.
So Aiden Dauble gets that first field goal finally with 2:39 left to go in the first half, and he misses the free throw. And it's a 24-21 game as a result of the field goal for Dauble. 24-21 Red Knights, that is, with 2:25 left to go in the first half. Brandon Dunn back into the game for Reading High. Jones, hounded by Scott, gives it up for Weaver, who gives it instead for DeCastro, trying to get by Jaden Ware. Goes behind his back. Ware recovers.
Really good defense by Ware. DeCastro, really the main scoring option.
Be a 5-second violation.
No, I think it's going to be an illegal screen or some kind.
You are correct. It's an illegal screen on Brandon Dunn. So that'll be his first. Red Knights' 4th. Tajir Slaughter will check back into the game now for Reading High as Dunn will come out. 2:05 left to go in the first half. 24-21. Red Knights still clinging to a 3-point lead. Dauble, Reinert, Kozik, Ware, and Scott, the 5 out there right now for the Eagles. Dauble trying to clear himself some space. Foul line fadeaway, no. Rebounded by Portalatin. Boy, he is racking up rebounds tonight. Jones up ahead for Jacob. Puts on the brakes as he sees Braylon Reinert. Now goes right back at him, goes right around him and scores 2.
Yeah, right around Reinert. Knowing that Reinert has 2 fouls, doesn't want to pick up a third.
Jameer Jacob with 8. The lead is 5 again for Reading High. 26-21, Red Knights on top. 1:35 left to go. Cameron Jones with the good hands knocks it out of bounds. stay Exeter basketball. 1:33 left to go in half number one. Kozik will be the inbounder. Straight across Reading High's bench. Dangerous inbounds deflected by Jones. Taken away by the Red Knights. Cameron Jones with a deflection. DeCastro with a spin and a score.
Really pretty move and transition by DeCastro. Great Reading defense.
Red Knights match their largest lead at 28-21, but Aiden Daubel quickly changes that as he quickly gets down the floor and scores in transition. Daubel's second field goal pulls the Eagles to within 5 and a timeout Exeter. Comes with 1:19 to go in the first half, and Exeter will call the timeout. Reading on top 28-23 after the smart move by Jameer Jacob went right by the foul-troubled Braylon Reinert, but then Exeter, to their credit, quickly back the other end, and Aiden Daubel gets 2 more. So Daubel now has 4 in this quarter, working his way back. First action for Aiden Daubel since the first half of the first game of the season in a 65-55 win over Pottstown.
I think Jeff Van Gorder is calling this timeout either to make an adjustment on the defense when Jacob gets the ball low or on their inbounds play because they've struggled to get the ball inside. It when they do get it, it's been quite a chore. It takes them 3 or 4 seconds to get it into the playing court.
Exeter will play in the Cedar Crest tournament Monday and Tuesday of next week. They will start play on Monday night against Palmyra. Reading High will be at Widener University playing in a one-day tournament against Cheltenham at Widener University on Saturday. Then they will host their holiday tournament Monday and Tuesday of next week. York Country Day, Lansdale Catholic will be game 1 here at the Geigel. Game 2, Berks Catholic and Reading High. And that is a Division I game in the Berks Boys Conference. We'll have that one for you here on WEEU and our free video stream as well next Monday night from the Geigel. 1:10 left to go in the half.
The adjustment is putting Jaden Ware on the low block, taking him off the top of the zone and putting Cameron Scott out front.
Getting Braylon Reinert to try to protect him for the remainder of this half with those 2 fouls. Jones on a clear-out drives, gives it up for Portalatin. Portalatin trying to get it down low to Slaughter. Slaughter double team, gives it back out for Jones. With patience by the Red Knights. 50 seconds to go. Portalatin had the 3, decided not to. Jacob going to drive to the baseline. Wrap-around pass for Portalatin, but a foul away from the basketball, it appears. This is going to be number 3 against Reading High. It's going to be an auction rider. That's his 3rd.
Yep.
And so he'll come out. Michael Fisher back in. 3 fouls now against Exeter with 41.9. And here comes Rosario with the 3 fouls back into the game for the Red Knights in the offensive possession.
He's been sitting almost 6.5 minutes right now with 3 fouls.
He'll go all the way into the backcourt to get it. And the Red Knights with 40 seconds to go in the half and a 5-point lead to work on offense. Guarded by Jaden Ware. To the corner for Portalatin. Rick Perez has his way. They'll hold it for 1 shot here to finish the half. And the Red Knights do that. Rosario sees an opening, drives, tucks, kicks, and Jones, and they'll reset with 20 seconds to go in the half. In the hands now of DeCastro. They switch up. Jaden Ware now guards DeCastro with 12 on the half. And that's going to be a 5-second call. He didn't go anywhere with the ball, and Exeter's going to get another look here.
And here comes Rosario out of the game. Slaughter in, Rick Perez getting him off the floor with 3 fouls.
And Reiner back in.
Give
them some offense.
Yep, little offense, defense.
10.7 left to go, and Exeter gets another look here with 5-point deficit.
Yep.
And now a hold on Portalatin, trying to defend up against Fisher, and they're over the limit. So that's going to put Exeter at the free throw line. No time going off the clock. Michael Portalatin gets called for grabbing a hold of Michael Fisher as he tried to cut to the basketball. And so with no time off the clock, Exeter to the free throw line will shoot 2 in the bonus. So now they'll get Rosario back to the scorer's table. He'll check back in now for offense with still 10.7 left to go on the clock.
And I imagine one of the 2 players for Exeter is going to take out Braylon Reinert. And yes.
Goodhart in, Reinert out. Also into the game for Exeter for the first time comes Josh Jackson, and Aiden Daubel will come out. So Jackson for defense, get Daubel out as well, as Michael Fisher makes the first of 2 and another to come. He makes that as well. So Michael Fisher with 4. The lead is 3 for Reading High, 28-25. Up ahead for Portolat, back to Rosario with 6 seconds. Little stutter step, baseline, Euro step, and a shot. No. Deflected, put up at the buzzer by Portolat, no good. And that's how the first half ends. The 2 free throws by Michael Fisher bring Exeter to within 3. After 2 quarters at the Geigel Complex at Reading High, it's the Red Knights 28, the Exeter Eagles 25. We'll take a timeout back with our Lincoln Plumbing Heating halftime show right after this on WEEU in Reading.
UECU is a credit union that understands Pennsylvania, what it means to grow up here, raise a family, start a business. And we're committed to being your financial partner for life. With competitive rates, exclusive member discounts, and modern technology, UECU offers personalized banking that will make you feel right at home. Visit bankingforpa.org and sign up for UECU membership through our partner association, the Pennsylvania Consumer Council. UECU, banking that understands home.
Savage 61 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is once again the #1 rated auto dealership in Pennsylvania. Thinking it's time to trade up for something newer? We offer the most insane trade-in values you'll find anywhere. Whether you're looking for a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, our dedicated team will make sure you drive away happy. Visit us today at savage61.com and see why we're Pennsylvania's top choice.
To find out how WEU can be your affordable advertising partner, call 610-345-7338.
If you are buying or selling a home, contact RE/MAX real estate agent Phil Macaronis. With over 20 years of experience and a member of the RE/MAX Hall of Fame, Phil does it all, from residential to commercial real estate sales. And with his large catalog of repeat and referral customers, you know you can depend on Phil Macaronis, no matter where you're looking for your next home. Call 610-670-2770 or call Phil directly anytime at 610-858-4555.
Tonight's halftime show is brought to you by Lincoln Plumbing and Heating. When you need a plumber, get a good one. Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, Lincoln Plumbing has the experience to help from a leaky faucet to a whole bathroom remodel. Call 610-376-0863 for Lincoln Plumbing and Heating, as honest as their name. Alongside Rich Garcella, my name is Bob McCool. At the halftime break, it is the Reading Red Knights 28, the Exeter Eagles 25. And it's been pretty tight throughout this game, although the Red Knights have had a couple of surges that gave them a 7-point lead in both the first and the second quarter. But ultimately, Exeter closing it to win this 3-point gap. The Eagles had their moments as well. But foul troubles were a piece of this puzzle. 2 big pieces, one each side. Braylon Reiner for Exeter and Wesley Rosario for Reading High spent good chunks of that second quarter, Rich, on the bench with foul troubles. And I think that's one of the reasons why his offense was at a premium in quarter number 2.
And with Rosario out, Rosario's absence clearly hurts Reading more than Reiner's absence because of how important he is to the Red Knights. He's averaging over 18 points a game. He's their best distributor. And without him on the floor, you got to give Reading credit. They managed to hold on to the lead, but he's got 3 fouls, and he's got to stay on the floor for them to have a better chance of winning this game. Braylon Reiner, on the other hand, was in and out of the lineup. He has 2 fouls. Am I right? Yeah. But he's in better shape. But Exeter has more depth, more balance. They have more bodies. They can afford to lose 1 player. They can't afford to lose 2.
Well, beginning of this game, we put Jameer Jacob in the HuberAuto.com spotlight tonight, and he has risen to the challenge, whether that challenge was us or more so by Rick Perez, in terms of what he was able to do. But he physically went inside. Of course, once Reiner got in foul trouble, he knew he could go right at him to make sure he didn't get Reiner did not pick up another foul. But Jameer Jacob has risen to the challenge tonight for the Red Knights, and he leads them at the halftime break with 8 points.
Yeah, Jacob, we saw he went scoreless against Wilson, and really that hurt Reading because Reading only scored 44 points in that game, lost by 8 to the Bulldogs. Jacob, you could tell right away, has been more aggressive offensively, looking for his shot. He got Reiner 2 quick fouls. They're looking to get him the ball inside against that 1-2-2 zone, and he's been effective. He's 4 for 6 from the field. And, he and Cameron Jones have really given the Red Knights a lift here in the first half, with DeCastro scoring 6 and Rosario just 2.
And, of course, the other piece of this for the Exeter Eagles is the return of Aiden Dauble. He was since a big key piece of the puzzle for Exeter over the course of the last couple of years, and no doubt about that going in. Their most experienced, their best scoring player returning from a year ago, averaging over 16 points per game last year as a junior. But unfortunately, saddled a little bit by an ankle injury coming out of the football season, and then injured the other ankle in the first half of the first game and had not played since that point in time. But back in the lineup tonight and really trying to get his offensive game going. He was a factor on the rebounds as you expect him to be. He is a big body inside, but trying to hit from beyond the arc, which he is certainly capable of doing. But unfortunately, the shot wasn't falling early on in this game, but he found a way in the second quarter by scoring inside instead, and he is certainly capable of scoring in both ways.
Yeah, Exeter did a good job at times breaking that Reading pressure and finding and getting some easy baskets. And Aiden Daubel got one of those baskets. I think they've got to be more consistent. They turned the ball over 8 times in the first half, and they've got to do a better job of protecting the basketball. But I think once they get the ball into the half court, they've been effective. It's just that they haven't done it consistently enough.
28-25 is our score. Halftime between Reading High and Exeter. Don't forget, coming up after we are finished here tonight at the Geico Complex, we'll throw things back to our WEEU studios. Jeff Nolan, Matt Knob with our scoreboard show. The rundown, a very busy night on the scoreboard show, both boys and girls games in action tonight. Lots of non-leaguers around. This is one of the very few games in the Berks Conference, and this is a good one between two teams who we certainly figure will be playoff teams as they have been over the course of the last couple seasons. The Reading Red Knights, the Exeter Eagles, and at the break, or halfway through our halftime show, presented by Lincoln Plumbing and Heating, it is Reading High 28, Exeter 25. Back with more after this on WEEU in Reading.
Savage 61 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is once again the #1 rated auto dealership in Pennsylvania. Thinking it's time to trade up for something newer? We offer the most insane trade-in values you'll find anywhere. Whether you're looking for a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, our dedicated team will make sure you drive away happy. Visit us today at savage61.com and see why we're Pennsylvania's top choice.
To find out how WEU can be your affordable advertising partner, call 610-345-7338.
Temperatures dropped and my heating wouldn't kick on, so I called Keith HVAC Electrical and Plumbing. They had it running fast and at a fair price. That was years ago, and I've trusted them ever since. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, Keith does it all. Honest, fast, professional. They've been around for 30 years for a reason. Call Keith HVAC today. You'll be glad you did.
Keith HVAC Electrical and Plumbing. Quality you trust, comfort you deserve. Call 610-589-6461 or visit keithhvac.com.
Noisy, squeaky, or uneven garage doors? Do they snap, crackle, or pop? Having trouble opening or closing? Get a garage door tune-up now from Overhead Door Reading. For just $99, we'll inspect, lubricate, and adjust your garage doors so they run smoothly and quietly. Don't get stuck in the driveway this winter. Call today and ask for our tune-up special. Serving the community since 1965. Overhead Door Reading. We're more than just doors. OverheadDoorReading.com.
Back with our Lincoln Plumbing and Heating halftime show. Again, the Red Knights opened up a 7-point lead at one point thanks to a 7-0 run. It was 12-12, our score in the first quarter before the Red Knights went on that 7-0 run. Ended up being a 5-point game after a quarter at 19-14. And then Reading pushed it back up to a 7-point game again late in the second quarter at 28-21. Exeter ends up scoring the final 4 points of the second quarter and makes it a 3-point game at 28-25. As we said, Jameer Jacob, leading scorer for the Red Knights at halftime with 8, 6 each for Cameron Jones. He had 2 big threes for Red Knights in that first quarter when they had 19 first quarter points. 6 for Jones and 6 for Justin DeCastro. 5 of those 6 coming in the second quarter. 4 for Mikel Portalatin. He's been huge on the boards, as Rich mentioned, with 8 rebounds in the first half. And then 2 for Brandon Dunn off the bench and just 2 for Wesley Rosario, saddled with 3 first half fouls. So that's 28 points, for the Reading Red Knights. For the Exeter Eagles, Jaden Ware off to a strong start. He had 6 points. Jackson Kozek with some quality minutes for the Exeter Eagles off the bench tonight. He's got 5. 4 for Daubel, all of them coming in the second quarter. 4 for Michael Fisher as well. 3 for Cameron Oxenreiter, 2 for Braylon Reinhardt, and 1 for Mason Goodhart, and the 25 for the Exeter Eagles. 28-25 is our score as we get you set for the start of the third period.
I think if you ask Jeff Van Gorder would you like to hold Reading to 9 points in the second quarter, in the third and the fourth? I think he would take that right now and sign up for it. They did a good job defensively, and again, Rosario was out of most of the quarter, almost, more than 7 minutes of it. But the fact is, they did a terrific job, limited Reading to 9 points. The problem for Exeter was turning the ball over too much and ended up with 8 turnovers in the first half. Exeter has to do a better job protecting the ball here in the third quarter.
The Red Knights will have possession to start the third quarter, and the start of our third quarter is presented by Financial Planning Advisors. Their team of professional advisors can help guide your investment planning, retirement planning. Get Financial Planning Advisors working on your team. Call them, 610-376-6334, or go to financialpa.com. Red Knights 28, Eagles 25, and Reading has the basketball to start period number 3. Rosario tries for a screen and roll for Cameron Jones, gives it for DeCastro instead. Jones open top of the key for 3, no. Rebounded by Carter Oxenrider, and the Eagles have it for their first possession of the third quarter. Michael Fisher picks it up, pushes up the floor, kicks it back for Dauble. Little stutter step moves, drives through the paint, and lays it off the glass for 2.
That's the first time we've seen Dauble dribble to the basket, and he scores.
Pulls the Exeter Eagles within 1. Here's DeCastro off the glass, no. Braylon Reinert pulls down the rebound for Exeter. Eagles with a chance to take their first lead since the first quarter, but the pass is stolen away by Wesley Rosario. Exeter's 9th turnover back in the hands of Rosario. Up the end of the floor, he dribbled it off his foot and gives it right back.
A little bit out of control there for Wesley. I think he was waiting for a cutter, and he just never saw one.
So it's Aiden Dauble, Jaden Ware, Michael Fisher, Braylon Reinert, and Carter Oxenrider. The same way Jeff Van Gorder began this game is the way he starts the third quarter. Going up against the Red Knight, man-to-man defense. Jones hounding Fisher. Tried to poke it away. Fisher gets away, drives inside for the lead. No. Rebounded by Justin DeCastro and Reading hot. Wesley Rosario, Jameer Jacob, Cameron Jones, Michael Portalatin, and Justin DeCastro. The same way Rick Perez started tonight's game. Rosario, baseline, kicks it out for DeCastro. Lost the handle on it, picks it up in the corner. 1:25 into the third quarter. Red Knights looking for their first points. Jones drives, kicks for Portalatin, swings it back and around for Rosario and into the corner for Jacob. They sag off of him, daring to shoot from away. Difficult pass through traffic for DeCastro and 2.
I don't know how that ball got to DeCastro, but Jacob got the assist.
8 now for DeCastro. Red Knights get their first points of the third quarter. They lead it 30-27. 6:10 left to go in the third. Exeter almost turns it over. Double open in the corner for 3. No. Long rebound, tipped and controlled by Rosario. Up ahead for DeCastro. Up and no good, but he's fouled by Oxenrider. That's going to be number 4 on Oxenrider. And to the line goes Justin DeCastro.
Yeah, Aiden Dauble has missed 4 3-pointers, and that one was a wide open one. He had time to set his feet, just couldn't get it to fall. And then Reading got the rebound and then just kicked it into high gear in transition. And here we go. I can't see who that is, Bob. Is that DeCastro? DeCastro at the line to shoot, too.
Yeah, the Red Knights were down a couple of men because Cameron Jones and Mikal Portalatin ran into one another in the backcourt. They were both on the floor. Jones is fine. Portalatin's been hobbled a little bit since he got up, but he's staying in the game. As DeCastro's at the free throw line, makes the first of 2. DeCastro 3 for 5 now at the free throw line tonight. And make it 4 for 6. And he's in double figures again this season. He has been in every game. And now Oxenrider, after picking up that 4th foul, will come out. Patrick Payne, 6'3 senior, will check into the game for the first time with the Red Knights on top, 32-27. 2 minutes in to the third quarter. So Oxenrider, who's given them a spark of late offensively, saddled by foul troubles tonight, comes out early here in this third quarter. Fisher for Dauble, inside for Reinert. Good pass, good catch, good finish. Braylon Reinert for 2.
Dauble's so smart, found the mismatch underneath Reinert with the layup.
4 for Reinert, lead is 3, but that quickly it changes.
Wesley Rosario with the 3 from the right corner.
Red Knights from the 3-point range. Here's a steal by DeCastro, a spin and a score for 2 more. Justin DeCastro.
And we talked about Fisher and Oxenrider. They haven't played against this kind of pressure Fisher struggling here early in the third quarter.
Red Knights have their largest lead at 8, 37-29 after the 3 by Rosario and the 2 by DeCastro. Fade away by Wade, no good. Cameron Jones has the rebound. Up ahead for the Red Knights. Portalatin will score for 2 more. Lead reaches double digits. 39-29, Reading High on top. To the style, to the pace that favors the Red Knights as Exeter turns it over. Fisher, corner is Jaden Ware. Good entry pass for Reinert. Gets Portalatin up in the air, no good, but he's fouled.
Again, great look inside the Reinert. Has the shorter Portalatin on him. They find him and draws the foul.
Yeah, it's a dominating physical mismatch between Braylon Reinert and Mikal Portalatin. Got him up in the air, and as a result of that, Reinert's to the free throw line for the first time tonight, shooting 2. Portalatin picks up his second foul. Reinert on the season just a 38% free throw shooter, and he line drive that one. Cameron Scott now coming back into the game for Exeter as Fisher will come out. Reinert's second free throw is good. 3 1/4, 5 in a game for Braylon Reinert. Lead is 9 for Reading High. 39-30 Red Knights. 4:38 left to go in the third. Jones, skip pass for DeCastro. Good position, and he'll lay it in for 2 more.
Really pretty cross-court pass by Cameron Jones to DeCastro.
11-point Reading High lead. Scott to try to change that. No good. Jones with the rebound. The Red Knights push it up ahead for DeCastro. Scores 2 more and a foul. Justin DeCastro in the open floor, and the Exeter Eagles just cannot keep up. He gets 2 more, and he gets fouled.
Justin DeCastro's got 10 points this quarter alone here in the first 3.5 minutes.
The foul's on Reinert, so that's his third. As DeCastro back to the free throw line now to try to make this a 3-point play. Red Knights have taken charge here in this third period. At a 3-point lead at halftime, it's 13 right now, pending the free throw.
Against Muhlenberg and Wilson, this is when they've struggled, the stretch that they've struggled. But DeCastro has really put the Red Knights on his back.
44-30, Reading High on top. 4:14 to go in the third. Skip pass to Dauble and an offensive foul on Aiden Dauble. Wesley Rosario draws the charge.
Yeah, that's a risk by Rosario, but it was a risk he obviously wanted to take, and he drew the foul on Dauble, his first. Another turnover for Exeter and a timeout by Jeff Van Gorder.
Yeah, he's seeing this one slip away from him a little bit, and after turning it over again on the offensive foul, he will call the timeout. We will take one with Exeter with 4:11 left to go in the third. Reading 44, Exeter 30, back to the Geigel Complex in Reading. After this on WEEU.
Mornings with Mike.
Wake up every weekday morning with me, Mike Keller, and Bob McCool here on WEEU. We'll start your day with a lot of fun, some fantastic prizes, and all the news, weather, traffic, and sports that you need to get up and get moving. Plus, great guests, your phone calls, and so much more. Set your alarm and wake up to all the fun.
Mornings with Mike. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on 830 WEEU, the voice of Berks and beyond.
When the pressure's on and it's time to make your best move, the Susan McFadden team with Keller Williams Platinum Realty is here to help you score big in today's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or planning your next play, Susan's experience and dedication make her the MVP you want on your side. For winning results and a team that never stops hustling, trust the Susan McFadden team with Keller Williams, your home court advantage.
Red Knights following the extra timeout, working inside for DeCastro, works it back, and now it's thrown away. Jackson Kozik just into the game for Exeter, comes up with a steal, but now Exeter is going to give it right back as Jaden Ware stutter step for a moment in the corner and traveled.
Yeah, 2 officials had that call.
5 turnovers for the Eagles here in this third quarter, which is just halfway through. Exeter extends the defense. Reading beats it. They find DeCastro, who scores 2 more.
DeCastro, again, has taken over this game offensively for Reading. He's got 13 this quarter.
Great find by Rosario. DeCastro finishes it off. Now we're getting a whistle away from the basketball with Ware and Jones tangling up with one another. And it's going to be Jones who's going to get whistled for the foul. His second. Reading High's second. Exeter inbounds underneath as Taiji Slaughter will check into the game now. Rosario will come out. 3:39 left in the third. Red Knights' lead has reached 16 points as Reading again on another 7-0 run. Ware inside for Reinert. Fades away and gets fouled by DeCastro. He'll shoot two more.
Castro's done a good job of staying out of foul trouble tonight. That's just his first. But really, DeCastro's the story here, Bob. He has taken over the game, giving Reading a 16-point lead. I mean, he's got all but 5 of Reading's points here in the third quarter.
13 of his 19 in total in the game. Again, averaging 21.5. He has been over 20 in 5 of Reading's 6 games so far. Reinert makes the first free throw, and then Reading High calls a timeout during the middle of his 2 free throws. So the Red Knights will call a 30-second timeout. 3 minutes and 33 seconds left to go in this third quarter. Reading on top 46-31 against the Exeter Eagles with Braylon Reinert at the free throw line to shoot one more.
This spurt here in the third quarter started with that Jacob pass, that entry pass through about 3 Exeter defenders into DeCastro. Yeah. I couldn't believe the ball got through somehow, but DeCastro got the layup, left-handed layup. And that sort of started everything, started this run.
Yeah, as Exeter kind of spread out the defense, they went to that 1-2-2 half court or three-quarter court, and Reading High diced that up a little bit, finding DeCastro at the foul line, and he just took it to the basket from there. And then Reinert back at the free throw line following the Red Knight timeout. Made the first, misses the second. 46-31 our score. Reading High on top. Red Knights have the basketball. Inside again to DeCastro. Turn around the paint, not there. And rebounded by Jackson Kozik and Exeter. Now a foul on Brandon Dunn as he tried to slap it away from Kozik. Hit him right across the arm. So Brandon Dunn picks up his second foul. Reading High picks up its its fourth. So the next one will put Exeter at the line.
It's the last thing Rick Perez wants is Exeter going to the foul line early here in the third quarter.
Stephon Fuller, 6'1 sophomore into the game for Exeter. And Reading High steals the inbounds, and it was Dunn who stole it away. Finds Cameron Jones for 2.
That's a terrific hustle play by Brandon Dunn. And again, another turnover right here.
As Rosario will pick it up at half court, 48-31. And now the Red Knights are going to give it right back, and the Exeter Eagles will give it right back. Exeter threw it away to Aiden Dauble, who then traveled with it. 48-31 is our score. Reading High holding Exeter so far to 6 points in this quarter, and by my numbers, 8 turnovers for Exeter in the quarter. Inbounds. Rosario left alone for 3. Yes, rattles it home.
Nobody on him. Wesley Rosario finds some space.
The lead reaches 20 for the Red Knights, 51-31. Inside of 3 minutes to go in the third. Dauble inside for Reinert. Good catch, and he finishes for 2 more.
Good pass, good catch.
51-33. 6 1/4, 8 in the game for Reinert. 2:40 left to go in period number 3. Jacob from the corner. Back to DeCastro. Along with Jones, Rosario, and Brandon Dunn, the 5 out there for Reading High. Dunn in the corner for Jacob on the baseline. Back to Jones in the corner. 2:25 left to go in period number 3. Rick Perez said, well, I'm in no hurry. Got an 18-point lead. Late third quarter. Let's take some time off the clock. Rosario drives, dishes. Jacob can't finish. Loose, tipped, and controlled by Braylon Reinert. Back the other way, Cameron Jones bumps into him. And that's going to put Exeter in the free throw line. Now a little bit of talking after the game's over with. Cameron Scott got himself caught up in a jawing contest. And a nice play by his teammate, Stephon Fuller, who came over, grabbed him by the jersey, and pulled him away.
Yeah, don't be. That's on Cameron Jones, his third.
So Cameron Jones bumped him into backcourt, and that's the 5th foul against Reading High. So that puts Exeter at the free throw line. And it puts Scott at the stripe. Looking for his first point of the night, misses the free throw. 2:10 left to go. Taiji Slaughter is going to check back into the game now for Reading High. Jones, who picks up his third, comes out. Scott makes the second, so 1 out of 2 for Cameron Scott, makes it a 51-34 Red Knight advantage as we're about to hit the 2-minute mark of the third quarter. Justin DeCastro, who's exploded in the point column, gets it inside for Rosario. Backs down, kicks it out. DeCastro for 3. That's well off the front of the rim and out of bounds. So Exeter will get it right back. Michael Fisher will check back in. Scott will come out. Dauble, Fuller, Fisher, Reinert, and Josh Jackson, the 5 out on the floor right now for Exeter. Jackson, long way from the basket, looking for a cutter. Now a foul going to be called as they hit him across the arm. It puts him on the line. DeCastro with the foul.
Yeah. This has got to be driving Rick Perez nuts. Up 17 and fouling 30 feet away from the basket.
So it puts Josh Jackson at the free throw line to shoot 2. 1:47 left to go in the third. Jackson gets his first point at the stripe. Jackson, the junior, now 5 out of 7 at the free throw line on the season. Jones back into the game now for Reading High. Jameer Jacob will take a breather. Jackson's second, no good. Rebounded by Slaughter. 1:46 left to go in the third. 51-35. Reading High on top. DeCastro almost taken away from behind by Fuller, but DeCastro able to hold on. Dribbles himself into a double team. Flies through that double team off the rim. No. Tipped around right back to DeCastro. Dumps it off nicely to Slaughter. It spins out on the freshman. Dunn with another Reading High rebound and puts it home and scores and is fouled. Brandon Dunn with the Red Knights' third chance underneath.
Yeah, really, Exeter has the size advantage, and they're getting beat off the glass now, and that is not something that we expected tonight.
Fouls on Stephon Fuller. It's his first. And Dunn trying to finish off the three-point play. Cannot. Tipped around. It's still loose in the air. And eventually, Josh Jackson will pull it away, but Rosario steals the inbounds. Rosario drives, dumps it. DeCastro fakes the 3, but he traveled with it. So the Red Knights will give it right back after another Exeter turnover. Kalik Weaver now will check back into the game for Reading High. Rosario will come out with 1:08 left to go in the third quarter. Red Knight advantage is 18 again at 53-35. 1:08 left, and Mason Goodhart back in for Exeter. Fuller, Fisher, Dauble, Reinert, and Goodhart for Exeter. Fisher drives, dishes for Dauble. Catch and shoot 3. Still can't find the range from outside. Dunn pulls down the rebound. Up ahead for DeCastro. In the open floor. Spins. Lost the handle. Gets it back. Kicks it back for Cameron Jones. Rick Perez wants him to pull it out and run some clock with 40 seconds to go in the third. Jones hounded by Dauble. Gives it up for DeCastro with 30 seconds to go in the third period. For Jones, trapped along the sideline, almost turned it over. DeCastro has it with 18 left on the clock. Red Knights with an 18-point advantage and trying to run off the last 45, 50 seconds of the third quarter. Jones is trapped and then fouled. So over the limit now are the Exeter Eagles, so Reading High will shoot 2. It should be Cameron Jones at the free throw line for the Red Knights. Fuller picks up his second foul. Jones at the line for the first time tonight. Makes the first. He's now 3 for 5 at the free throw line on the season, trying to give the Red Knights a 20-point lead here late in this third quarter. And he makes them both to give that 20-point lead for Reading High, 55-35. Portalatin back in, Jacob back in for the Red Knights. DeCastro and Jones will take a breather for the final few seconds of the third quarter. Red Knights in their relentless pressure. Inbounded for Fisher with 6 seconds to go. Cross half court for Dauble. 3 seconds, a long three. Dauble still can't get that three-pointer to go, and that is how the third quarter comes to an end. An impressive 8 minutes for the Reading High Red Knights. They have extended their lead to 20. When we come back to the Geigel, Reading 55, Exeter 35. High school basketball live at 8:30 a.m. WEEU in Reading.
Updating your furniture and appliances? The Habitat for Humanity Restore of Berks County can help. The Restore offers free pickup of your gently used furniture and appliances from your Berks County home. We offer convenient scheduling for our free pickups through our website, restoreberks.org. Located at 5370 Allentown Pike in Temple, the Restore is open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesdays through Saturdays. You might just find that special thing to tie the room together at the Restore. Support your community with your donation to the Habitat for Humanity Restore of Berks County.
Hi, I'm Mike Kuhn with Kuhn Funeral Homes. Since 1937, our family has been committed to serving our community. We now have 3 active generations, as I have the honor of working with my father and son. With 5 convenient locations to serve our neighbors, Kuhn Funeral Homes continues to dedicate our family to your family. Thank you for believing in us, and we promise to always be there for you.
A impressive 27-10 advantage for the Reading Red Knights in quarter number 3. They have changed what was a 3-point halftime lead to a 20-point lead as we start the fourth quarter. 55-35 Red Knights over the Exeter Eagles. Alongside Rich Garcella, my name is Bob McCool. We're live from the Geigel Complex. It will be Exeter basketball to start this fourth quarter.
Yeah, Bob, we had talked about it in the pregame. How were guys like Carter Oxenrider and Michael Fisher going to handle Reading's pressure? They haven't seen it in a game per se. And right now, Exeter has really struggled. 8 turnovers that quarter alone.
Jaden Ware will drive. He'll absorb some contact, and the team start with a clean slate as we start the fourth quarter in terms of team fouls, but they're going to say it was in the act and put Jaden Ware at the free throw line. Ware had 6 points in the first quarter, did not score, or the first half, did not score in the third quarter. Looking to change that here as he shoots 2 after the foul on Kalik Weaver.
Exeter just 3 for 9 from the field in the third quarter with the 8 turnovers. Just a dreadful 8 minutes for the Eagles.
Jaden Ware makes the first of 2 free throws. Ware 14 for 18 at the free throw line so far on the season. And add 1 more, so 8 points for Jaden Ware as Exeter scores the first 2 points of the fourth, 55-37. Red Knights with their first possession. Wesley Rosario bumped and fouled by Braylon Reinert as he reaches in and commits the foul. It's going to be his 4th.
Yeah, just don't get that. Fouling 40 feet away from the basket. Reaching in.
So he'll come out. Mason Goodhart back in. Taiji Slaughter comes out. Jameer Jacob back in for Reading High. Inbounds for DeCastro. Back for Weaver to the corner, but it's Fisher stole it away. Nice play by Michael Fisher. Here's Oxenrider in the open floor, up off the rim. No, but Dauble's there to clean it up. Aiden Dauble with 2 more.
Yeah, nice follow.
All set up by the defense of Fisher. Now we're going to get a foul on the other end as Justin DeCastro is knocked to the deck. He will pick himself up and go shoot 2 free throws for the Red Knights. Castro, a big part of that third quarter explosion for Reading High, as he had 13 of their 27 points. Fouls on Goodhart, his second. DeCastro back to the free throw line. Makes the first, So it gives him 20 for the 6th time this season. In this, the 8th game for Reading High. And the second. 21 for DeCastro. The lead is 18. 57-39 Red Knights. Full court pressure for Reading High really got to Exeter in that third quarter. This time Fisher takes it across half court without a problem. To the high post for Dauble. Gives it back to the cutter and Ware. Off balance shot. No, nothing but Red Knights underneath. And Cameron Jones has it for Reading High. With Justin DeCastro, Wesley Rosario, Kalik Weaver, Jameer Jacob. Clear out. Rosario drives and lays it in for 2.
Saw the mismatch against Goodhart and took him to the basket. Rosario with the basket.
He's got 10, the lead back to 20, 59-39 Red Knights. Ware from the corner, looks for a cutter, to take it himself. Tipped away, taken away. Reading High has it back on a 3-on-1. DeCastro tried to slam it and missed it. Exeter has it back. Dauble up ahead for Oxenrider. Oxenrider off the glass, lays it in for 2. And now a timeout called on the floor. As Justin DeCastro missed the dunk on the other end. And I think it's the Red Knights who call the timeout. It is. Comes with 6:35 to go. No, it was Exeter calls the timeout. That makes more sense. Exeter calls the timeout. So the Eagles still are down now to 2 timeouts left. Reading High still has 3 timeouts remaining. 59-41 is our score as the Red Knights missed on one end. And Exeter scores on the other end with Carter Oxenrider finishing off the glass for his second field goal. He got 5. 59-41, Reading on top. Reading back in action on Saturday. They'll be playing at Widener University, taking on Cheltenham. Again, Exeter playing in the Cedar Crest tournament beginning Monday and Tuesday. They'll take on Palmyra on Monday. Manheim Central and Cedar Crest, the other 2 teams in that tournament. 6:35 left in this one. Don't forget to stick around for our Pizza Como Temple postgame show. Rich Garcello will have words with our winning coach and our Reading Fighting Phil's player of the game. All coming up. And then after we're done here, we'll turn things over to our scoreboard show with Jeff Nolan, Matt Knob back in the WEEU studios. The Exeter Eagles come up with a steal on the inbounds pass. Jaden Ware takes it away for Exeter, but he's going to throw it right back as he tried to throw it into a crowd, and Rosario steals it. Up ahead for Jameer Jacob, who lays it off the glass in 2.
Yeah, just not a really good pass there by Jaden Ware, the senior. And Reading converts that turnover into a transition basket.
Jacob now in double figures. Here's Rosario with another deflection and another takeaway for the Red Knights. 18 Exeter turnovers. Rosario drives, dumps it back for Weaver, 2.
What a pretty feed by Rosario. Looked like he was going to throw it back outside and found the cutting Weaver.
First 2 points for Khalik Weaver. Their lead is 22, 63-41. Red Knights on top. 5:40 left to go. Reading High trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Dauble again trying for 3. Still can't get the range from outside. Cameron Jones on the rebound for the Red Knights. Tried to go backdoor, but Dauble stole it away. Dauble in the open floor. Goes by 1 defender. Goes up off the glim. No good, but he's fouled. He'll shoot 2. So Aiden Dauble with a steal on one end. Khalik Weaver fouls him on the other, puts him on the line. Dauble with 8 points in his return to the starting lineup tonight for Exeter after missing 6 games. Makes the first. 1 for 2 at the free throw line now on the night for Aiden Dauble. Cameron Scott will check back in for Exeter. Jackson Kozik also into the game for the Eagles. Fisher and Ware will come out. Dauble has another free throw coming his way. And the 2 for 2 puts him in double figures. And now he's going to get a breather as Josh Jackson will check in. Lead is 20, 63-43. Reading High on top. 5:24 left to go in the ballgame.
Bob, you wonder how long Jeff Van Gorder will keep Aiden Dauble, if he'll send him back in the game. He's been nursing some ankle injuries, and Exeter down 20 here with 5 minutes and change left. He might be sitting there for the rest of the night.
We'll see how Exeter even plays this year. If Reading pulls this out, which I would imagine Rick Perez, who likes to do that, does. I don't know that Exeter bothers to chase and foul here. Red Knights have kind of spread it out here with now inside of 5 minutes to go in the hands of Rosario. Gives it up for Jones.
Yeah, they had, with the big lead, they pulled Exeter out of their man.
Jameer Jacob goes by as Oxenrider went for a steal. It cleared a path for Jameer Jacob, who lays it in for 2 more.
Yeah, once that lead got to about 14, 16 points, Exeter came out of its zone and played man-to-man, and really they They really can't adjust to that speed. They can't handle Reading's speed.
Mikal Portalatin and Cameron Scott were tangled up with one another and away from the ball. They're going to call the foul on Portalatin. That'll be his third. It's 2 team fouls each now with 4:26 left to go. So it'll be it should be Exeter basketball underneath, I would think. Now the 3 officials are going to talk things over here in terms of what was the situation with the ball. Again, it was away from the basketball. And
there's a foul on Scott too, Bob.
So
double foul.
It's going to be a double foul. So Scott and Portalatin are going to get called for the foul each. So now they're going to call the 2 coaches to the scorers table.
I'm going to guess it's Exeter's ball on alternate possession. Right. It has to be.
So Exeter will inbound. After the offsetting fouls, if you want to call it that. Oxenrider, Josh Jackson into the game, along with Cameron Scott. Over the head of Jackson, the Eagles will turn it right back over again.
That's really been the story of the night. Exeter with 12 turnovers here in the second half alone, and we still have 4 minutes plus left in the fourth quarter.
Devon Fuller now will check back into the game for Exeter. Red Knights sitting on a 22-point lead. All changed in the third quarter for Reading High after what was a 3-point game in the first half. Rosario on the post-up, going to back down at Kozik. Tries to spin away from him, dumps it back for Jacob. Poked away by Exeter. Kozik comes up with a takeaway for the Eagles. Up ahead, Cameron Scott looks for some help. Dangerous pass, good catch by Jackson in the corner. Dribbles himself out of that predicament. Gives it back for Scott at the top of the key. Drive, floater, no. Rebounded by DeCastro. Justin DeCastro on the open floor, kicks it to Rosario. Right back inside DeCastro. Off the glass and home for 2. 23 for DeCastro. Up ahead, Goodhart blocked by Rosario. Right back to the Eagles. The shot no good by Fuller. Rosario saved it off the back of Josh Jackson. It's Reading High basketball. 67-43, Reading High on top. Reinert going to check back into the game for Exeter. Brandon Dunn back into the game for the Red Knights. Taiji Slaughter also into the game for Reading High as DeCastro and Jacob come out. Slaughter has it taken away by Reinert. Up ahead for Kozik. Kozik, floater, no. And another whistle and a foul on the rebound. Stops the clock with 3:10 left to go in the basketball game. It's going to be on Cameron Jones. That's going to be number 4 on the sophomore. 3 team fouls each. Inbounds almost taken away. Reinert pulls it away from Slaughter, who hounds him in the corner and eventually gives it up for Cameron Scott. 3 minutes left to go. Reading High's lead is 22. Josh Jackson drives and kicks it for Fuller, who didn't catch it cleanly, so has to give it up for Scott. Scott with a floater off the glass. No. Rebounded by Brandon Dunn and Reading High.
Besides the 12 turnovers, Bob, Exeter shooting just 5 for 18 here in the second half. 2 of the biggest reasons why the Eagles are trailing by 24.
Rick Perez starting to get some more substitutions to the scorers table at the next stoppage. Rosario drives through the hands of Slaughter and out of bounds. Red Knights will turn it over. Allow Khalik Weaver to check back into the game for Reading High. Into the game for the first time comes 5'9" senior Michael Sigmund. And Yandel Perez, a 6'2" junior, will check into the game for Reading High as well. Brandon Dunn, the sophomore. Taiji Slaughter, the freshman, stay out there for the Red Knights with 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this ballgame. Reading High on its way to snapping that 3-game losing streak and taking a winning streak to the holidays, at least a winning record to the holidays as Exeter turns it over. Reading High almost gave it back. Slaughter picks it up, drives, wave off the shot, offensive foul against the Red Knights. So Taiji Slaughter picks up his second foul on the offensive. Patrick Payne will check into the game now for Exeter. Saw some moments early on in the third quarter. Jackson Kozik is out. So both teams pretty much clearing the bench of starters right now, or clearing the floor of starters, with the exception of Braylon Reinert, the only starter out there right now for Exeter. And no starters out there right now for the Red Knights. 2 minutes left to go. It's a three from Payne that's no good. Rebounded by Yandel Perez. And with 1:50 to go, Reading High has the ball back. Dunn, Sigmund to the corner for Weaver. Down low for Perez. Trying to get away from Reinert, nowhere to go. Kick it back and around. Brandon Dunn thought about the three. Gives it up for Weaver, who couldn't handle it. Sigmund picks it up. He'll shoot the three. That's off the rim. Fight for the rebound. Still loose, and a foul called on that rebound. Going to be Exeter basketball. Or is it a two-shot foul? It is. That's number 5 on the Red Knights. And now Perez picks up the foul for Reading High. Should be Josh Jackson shooting for Exeter. It will be. Jackson, 1 for 2 at the night. Shoots 2 more here.
Really nice response by Reading tonight, especially in the third quarter. That was the difference in the game. As you said, 27-10, third quarter for Reading. Broke this baby open, and a lot of it because of Justin DeCastro's offense.
Again,
and the Reading defense,
yeah.
the team defense. Let me make that clear, with creating all this pressure on the Eagles. The Eagles haven't really been able to get into their offense at all in the second half.
8 turnovers, 10 points for Exeter in that third quarter, as Jackson makes them both. So he's got 3 points, but 67-45 is our score. A minute 20 left to go in this one. But don't forget, stick around for our Pizza Como Temple postgame show. We'll have words with Rick Perez for the first time this season, and our winning coach and our Reading Fight Phil's player of the game as well. Here's Perez posting up down low off the back of the iron. No. Fight for the rebound. And actually, that first shot was Nasiah Molina who missed it. It was Perez who put back the follow for the Red Knights. 69-45, final minute of the ballgame. It's a catch and shoot three off the glass for the Exeter Eagles. It's Matt Brown who makes the three.
Just the third field goal of the fourth quarter by the Eagles.
69-48 for the final 35 seconds of the quarter, barring an Exeter foul. Would think the Red Knights will try to run off these final few seconds. Gleek Weaver handling the basketball. Screen him open, give it back, and a drive, and a block, and a foul. Does the bucket count?
It does.
Nasiah Molina scored for Reading High and got fouled in the process. So give Molina 2, and a foul called against the Red Knights, against the Eagles as well, putting Molina at the free throw line. So Nasiah Molina, a 6-foot junior forward, finishes off the three-point play. So he's in the scoring column. The lead has hit 72-48, Reading High. Final 18 seconds. And on the other end, Exeter buries the three. It's Jaden Majikowski who hits the three for the Eagles. Final couple of seconds will tick down. Sigmund will not bother with the shot. The seconds will tick down, and the Reading Red Knights will take home the victory. The final score, Reading 72, Exeter 51. We will take a timeout, back with our Pizza Como Temple postgame show after this on WEEU in Reading.
If you are buying or selling a home, contact RE/MAX real estate agent Phil Macaronis. With over 20 years of experience and a member of the RE/MAX Hall of Fame, Phil does it all, from residential to commercial real estate sales. And with his large catalog of repeat and referral customers, you know you can depend on Phil Macaronis, no matter where you're looking for your next home. Call 610-670-2770 or call Phil directly anytime at 610-858-4555.
Get your house ready to handle the extra guests, yard inflatables, and string lights. Keith HVAC, Electrical, and Plumbing has been keeping homes and businesses running smoothly for the holidays for 30 years. Plumbing, electrical, and heating systems work extra hard in the winter, so let Keith keep you cozy.
Quality you trust, comfort you deserve.
Call 610-589-6461 or visit KeithHVAC.com. Get Keith HVAC, electrical, and plumbing for the holidays because you've got enough to worry about with the in-laws.
Redner's Markets is a part of the Berks County community, proudly employee, local, and American-owned since 1970. Your support has made Redner's a staple, and your continued commitment is rewarded with the Redner's Rewards program. Shopping at the markets earns you big savings with grocery deals, special offers and services, and surprise savings. Rewards members save at the pump, too, with discounts on fuel prices at our 7 Redner's Quick Stops and many more select locations. Shop, earn, and save with the Redner's mobile app. Sign up at the store or online at RednersMarkets.com.
This season, stick with everyone's favorite snack, Diefenbach's Kettle Chips. Legend has it, Mark Diefenbach loved kettle cooked chips so much, he turned his Berks County kitchen into the ultimate snack factory. Now, over 60 years later, we're still making that delicious PA crafted crunch with the same passion and quality right where it all began. So crunch into some flavorful Diefenbach's Kettle Chips today and snack on a delicious tradition.
Welcome to the Pizza Como Temple postgame show. Pizza Como is a family-owned business going strong on the Fifth Street Highway for over 50 years, serving the finest Italian dishes, Berks County's best variety of Italian sandwiches, and legendary pizza. Right next door is The Yard, a virtual golf experience to keep your game sharp all year round. And if you love sports cards and memorabilia, stop in to buy, sell, or trade. Pizza Como and The Yard, 4600 Fifth Street Highway in Temple. The Reading Red Knights in a 3-point game after 2 quarters at 28-25. But that's where the explosion hit. Exeter got sloppy with the basketball. Reading High made them pay for it, turned it into a 27-10 advantage in the third quarter, opened up what was a 20-point lead after 3 at 55-35. And the Red Knights end up winning it by a score of 72-51. We talked about where was the offense going to come from for the Reading High. We knew about Rosario. You knew about Justin DeCastro. Well, DeCastro was a big piece of that third quarter push, but the Red Knights did get 4 players in double figures tonight, in addition to DeCastro and Rosario. Jameer Jacob and Cameron Jones also in double figures for the Red Knights as they end up with 72 points. And that's pretty much where the Red Knights were in the offensive numbers at the early points of this season when they were running off those 70-plus games and that 3-game winning streak, as Rick Perez wants to have a moment or two with his players in the locker room. So right now Rich is waiting for the opportunity to talk with Coach Perez. And in the meantime, we will tell you who our Reading Fighting Phil's player of the game is, and that is the junior guard for the Red Knights in Justin DeCastro. Visit the Reading Fighting Phil's and their all-new Redner's Event Center at First Energy Stadium. The R-Phils remind you to have your next sports team banquet in the R-Phils all-new Redner's Event Center banquet and meeting facility at First Energy Stadium. Whether it's a sports banquet, a wedding, a corporate meeting, or event, or any charity fundraiser dinner, the number one place for events in Berks County for groups of 40 to 1,000 is the all-new Redner's Event Center at the R-Phils. Go to rphils.com/events for more information. The Reading Red Knights, with the victory, they move to 4-3 now on the season. And the Exeter Eagles, with the loss, falls to 6-2 overall on the year. Reading High picks up its first win in conference play. Reading now 1-2 in Berks Division I. Exeter takes its first loss in divisional play as the Eagles are now 2-1 overall. While we wait for the opportunity to talk with Rick Perez and Justin DeCastro, our player, right, Fight Phil's player of our Pizza Como Temple postgame show after this.
Updating your furniture and appliances? The Habitat for Humanity Restore of Berks County can help. The Restore offers free pickup of your gently used furniture and appliances from your Berks County home. We offer convenient scheduling for our free pickups through our website, restoreberks.org. Located at 5370 Allentown Pike in Temple, the Restore is open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesdays through Saturdays. You might just find that special thing to tie the room together at the Restore. Support your community with your donation to the Habitat for Humanity Restore of Berks County.
WECU is a credit union that understands Pennsylvania, what it means to grow up here, raise a family, start a business. And we're committed to being your financial partner for life. With competitive rates, exclusive member discounts, and modern technology, UECU offers personalized banking that will make you feel right at home. Visit bankingforpa.org and sign up for UECU membership through our partner association, the Pennsylvania Consumer Council. UECU, banking that understands home.
Noisy, squeaky, or uneven garage doors? Do they snap, crackle, or pop? Having Having trouble opening or closing? Get a garage door tune-up now from Overhead Door Reading. For just $99, we'll inspect, lubricate, and adjust your garage doors so they run smoothly and quietly. Don't get stuck in the driveway this winter. Call today and ask for our tune-up special. Serving the community since 1965. Overhead Door Reading. We're more than just doors. OverheadDoorReading.com.
Spots Insurance Group is a proud sponsor of Berks County Sports. We're an award-winning nationwide agency you can trust, insuring what means most to you for over 32 years. We specialize in auto, home, renters, business, and life insurance. Remember, when you think insurance, think Spots. Visit us at spotsforinsurance.com. That's SPOTTS, 4, insurance.com.
When the pressure's on and it's time to make your best move, the Susan McFadden team with Keller Williams Platinum Realty is here to help you score big in today's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or planning your next play, Susan's experience and dedication make her the MVP you want on your side. For winning results and a team that never stops hustling, trust the Susan McFadden team with Keller Williams, your home court advantage.
All right, welcome back to our Pizza Coma Temple postgame show. Coach Perez and Justin DeCastro have come back out of the locker room. Rich Scarcella has caught up with Justin DeCastro. Rich, take it away.
Thank you, Bob. We're here with Justin DeCastro, scoring 21 points tonight in Reading's big win over Exeter. Justin, how does it feel to break that 3-game losing streak?
It feels great, you know. We was holding our heads down a lot, you know. And it just feels good to just get a win, hold our spirits up, and just keep that momentum going now.
What happened in the third quarter with your defense? How would you describe the way you guys came out in the second half and dominated that third quarter?
Before the game, we had a team meeting. You know, we talked about our struggles. We talked about us staying together. And, you know, we came in the locker room after the second quarter, and we just I don't know, we just came out and we were just strong, you know, like we just came out and excited to play, you know. We wasn't playing to have fun. We was just, you know, so we just came out having fun. You know, we kept our spirits up, and that's how we came out, just like that.
You've lost 2 straight games here on your home court. Actually, and you had lost up at Hazel too, but how important was it defending the home court tonight?
It's really important, you know. As you see, the stands wasn't as filled as the last games, you know, so it's good this is a statement win that we here. We're not out the county. We're still here.
You talked about your coach talked about the contributions of other guys, that he'd been looking for other guys to help you and Wesley out. How would you say guys like Cameron Jones and Jameer Jacob did tonight?
They did great, you know. In the beginning, me and Wes, we wasn't really going. Those 2 guys was the ones that got us going, and they kept us afloat until me and Wes started getting into the game. And yeah, they're a big help for both of us.
How important will it be once you get back in league play to get this thing going back in the right direction?
It's really important, you know. Our goals are really big, and to get there, we got to win. We got to stay together and win.
Bob, that's Justin DeCastro. Bob, I'm waiting for Rick Perez. Give me about a minute.
No problem.
But thank you, Justin. We appreciate it. We'll see you along the way.
You got it. While we're waiting for Coach Perez, we'll tell you about tonight's play of the game, brought to you by Celebration Villa of Exeter. Celebration Villa of Exeter offers a community in the community you love. Get settled into your new home and enjoy the holidays with friends and family at Celebration Villa of Exeter. To book a tour or have a conversation, contact Natalie. Celebration Villa of Exeter. Be part of the community. We'll tell you what that play of the game was. Brought to you by the Celebration Villa of Exeter. Right after Rich Garcelle is done talking with winning coach Rick Perez.
Thanks, Bob. We're here with Reading High coach Rick Perez after the Red Knights' convincing victory over Exeter. Rick, first of all, you talked before the game with Bob and I about trying to find other guys to support Justin, to support Wesley. You found that tonight, didn't you?
Yeah, we most certainly did. You know, Jameer Jacob stepped up. I mean, we got contributions from everyone, and that was important. But, you know, it started with the leadership of Justin. You know, Justin got an opportunity to go to the Westchester game this weekend and got an opportunity to sit down with, you know, the guys who've lived through this, you know, who have lived through the struggle of being a Red Knight. And he came out with, you know, some amazing tidbits, and it really empowered his entire team. You know, We run a program that is built on a family that is built on culture and so many different things. But at the end of the day, the kids run this. When they get it, and they take over. And that's what happened here today. Justin really led the charge, emotionally, culturally, and in his play.
We've seen your games against Muhlenberg and Wilson. You struggled in the third quarter. You said you struggled against Hazleton in the second half. Tonight you didn't. So I'm wondering, you had a 3-point lead at the half. What did you tell your kids? Because they came out flying in the third quarter.
Well, nothing's going to change, until you have to, as men, just as people, we know that those, those barriers are going to continue to be there till we overcome our fears and our doubts and whatever it is. And, when you're at Reading High, you're dealing with a different level of expectation, and I'm sorry to say this on it, to you, but, you got to stare down the barrel of the gun, and you got to be willing to do whatever it takes, to overcome. Because if you don't change, it's not going to change. And I think they made a choice here today. We had an opportunity to fold. They cut it to one there, and some things that we've seen before. People hanging out in our timeouts and things that. So I think people feel that they have the pulse on us, but at the end of the day, we're the young, most inexperienced team, which means the learning curve is large, but that also means that our growth curve is the largest out of everyone else's. So
that defense in the third quarter, that was vintage Reading High defense, wasn't it? What got the defense going, do you think, in that third quarter? You guys dominated it.
Well, I think in the second and the third quarter, because what we call sub-10, keeping teams under 10 points. And so in the second quarter, we had one until that dumb foul at the end. We had 5 fouls on the board, and we fouled 90 feet from the basket, which unfortunately has been routine throughout the season. So we're really trying to improve in that area. So we put them on the line. They end up with 10 points in the second. And then, third quarter, when you look at us statistically, and Coach Sparrow would be really proud, but, we stay focused on our POAs, our point of attacks, and we say, win the POA, win the day. In every single game, we've been winning when we're winning our POAs at 70%, 75%. In second half, we haven't been as disciplined in that area, and we were this game.
Rick, you had lost 3 games in a row after a 3-0 start. How important was it for this young team to win, especially here at the Geigel, and avoid a third straight loss at home and get back on the winning track?
Well, it's important for the league. In our league, our stands for league play. It's important for, our morale. It's very important. It's important that we get back to protecting the Geigel. These young men work very, very hard. I've had a lot of amazing groups, and this group will rank up there as some of the hardest working guys, and they just need to see the fruits of their labor. So I think today was an important milestone for them. So,
Rick, thanks a lot. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll see you in January.
Hey, happy holidays to you and your great team.
Thanks. Bob, back up to you.
Thanks very much. And just to finish it off, our celebration Villa of Exeter play of the game happened in that third quarter run for Exeter. Rich talked about it at the moment. It was a pass that was delivered by Jameer Jacob through a crowd that ultimately found Justin DeCastro, who found his way inside and scored 2 of those 13 points he had in that quarter, that third quarter, that exceptional third quarter for the Red Knights in a 27-10 difference in the third. Gave them a 20-point lead. They win it by 21 points. So that'll do it for our coverage tonight. Justin DeCastro, again, our Reading Fighting Phil's player of the game. He finishes with 23, one of 4 Red Knights in double figures. Jameer Jacob also with 12, 10 each for Wesley Rosario and for Cameron Jones, the only player for Exeter in double figures. Good to see him back out there as Aiden Dahlwell finishes with 10 points for the Eagles, who are now 6-2 on the season. Again, they're back in action on Monday night. They're at the Cedar Crest tournament. They will start play against Palmyra on Monday night. Red Knights on Saturday at Widener University taking on Cheltenham. And then here for their holiday tournament starting on Monday, they will take on Berks Catholic, and we will be here for that one. 7:15-ish is approximately the start time for that, as Reading High and Berks Catholic Division I Battle of Heavyweights on Monday night from here at the Geigel Complex. That's going to do it for us, but don't forget, back at the WEEU studios, Jeff Nolan and Matt Knob with our scoreboard show, rundown of everything that's going on in Berks County right up until 10 o'clock. Thanks to Jay Green, the athletic director. Our technical director is Sean Tansky. For my broadcast partner, Rich Garcella, my name is Bob McCool. Thanks for listening and watching high school basketball on WEEU. Merry Christmas to you all, and we will see you before the new year. Again, next Monday night, December the 29th, right back here at the Geigel Complex. Berks Catholic, Reading High. Great way to get it rolling. We'll have it for you next week. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. Have yourselves a great night. Jeff Nolan, Matt Knob, and the Scoreboard Show comes your way now.
You've been listening to High School Basketball on 830 WEEU, the voice of Berks and beyond. High School Basketball on WEEU is brought to you by
Savage Auto Group, Remax Real Estate Agent Phil Macaronis, Keith HVAC, Redner's Warehouse Markets, Diefenbach Snacks, Habitat for Humanity Restore, Chick-fil-A, UECU, Overhead Door of Reading, Spots Insurance, Coon Funeral Home, Susan McFadden of Keller Williams Platinum Realty, Shell's Restaurant, Dairy Swirl, and Miniature Golf, Victor Emmanuel Beneficial Society, Brad Coley Goosehead Insurance, Huber's Auto Group, Financial Planning Advisors, Lincoln Plumbing and Heating, Pizza Como,